Ahem. Yo, what up? Hope you all are doing well. I've absolutely no idea where this is going from here. The only thing that I know is that apparently, like, it's all the Final Fantasy IV stuff. But the only thing I know about this is from that one song. We were originally going to potentially do the, Tataru quest chain, but that's being reserved in case of an emergency. If things get particularly dire in the event skill. You know, that's just a little bit of joy that can be kept in reserve. Got the role quests? Fuck, you're right. I need to figure out a time to work those in. I don't want to do just, like, all side content all the time. We'll probably just get to a spot where there's, like, a good jumping off point and then do some of the role quests. Start weaving them in. It also depends on how interesting the role quests actually are. Because if they're not particularly interesting, you know, they could always just be a, like, do off stream and then summarize things. What a situation. This quest is like the situation in Sabanea.
宝の使い道について相談する上で、まずは民の声を広く聞きたい。
Okay. Like, so if we're going to discuss how to best use the treasure, we should, you know, first hear from the people
大
themselves.
使である私には話しにくいという者もいるだろうから、君たちも聞き取りに協力してくれないだろうか?
Okay. Yeah, as the Governor General, there may be, you know, those who find it difficult to speak to me, like, to speak their mind to me directly. Would you be willing to help me gather opinions?
ありがとう。マトシャたちのような漁師や商人たちに困ったことがないか聞いてみてくれ。
Okay. Just asking us to, you know, ask merchants, fishermen, if there's anything that they
エス
need.
ティニアンはパーラカの里を頼む。私はギガントガル採石場を回ってくるつもりだ。
Okay, he's going to a quarry. I think he's gonna go around
ノー
Paraka.
の聞き込みが終わったらラザハンのメーガルータグへよろしく頼むぞ。
Okay. After we finish speaking with everyone, interviews, go to Megalith Palace. Okay. So, we're going back to the fishing village. Nice. I have been informed that these, like, several of the upcoming quests are fairly aggressively filler. And this has given me filler vibes. You know, it's not as though these... I mean, I say this all the time, but it's not as though these quests are necessarily bad or the dialogue is necessarily bad. But it's the sort of thing that if you were playing, you know, in your native language, you just kind of read and comprehend and move on. Right? They're like little setup stuff. It's not like there isn't a ton to, like, break down and dissect necessarily. But it doesn't mean the lines aren't important. It just means that for the sake of time, it's better for me to not focus on them too much.
あんたが無事に帰ってきてくれて安心しただす。船はもういいだすか?
Okay, glad you made it back safe. You not need the ship anymore?
オラたちの生活で困ったことがないか?
You're asking if there's anything we're struggling with?
そうだな。やっぱりカルザールさんがいなくなったのが大きく響いているだす。
Well, you know, like, well, I guess, Otter being gone or dying really had a big impact on everybody.
オラは新しい販路を開拓して少しは魚を売れるようになってきてるけど、それでも昔に比べたらまだまだ大変だす。
Okay. Been opening up new, like, sales routes, managing to sell more fish lately, but it's still, compared to back in the day, it's still, hard. Things have been
今
rough.
は村のみんなで助け合ってるけど、先を考えると不安になることも多いだす。
Yeah, everybody in the village is helping each other out, but, when I think about the future, what we're gonna do from here on out, I really am worried. Hmm.
いらっしゃい。あんた、外からのお客さんだね。サベネや島に来たなら、こいつを
this
飲まなきゃ
motherfucker.
ってもんだ。
Oh, welcome. Oh, you're from, overseas, aren't you? When you come to Souvenir Island, there's something you just gotta have. It's
特
this.
製アームララッシ、3つで19,800ギルのところ、今なら1万ギルポッキリ。さあ、
The
買った
deluxe Amralasi. Normally it's 3 for 19,800 gil. But now you get it for just 10. Whoa, what a deal. So your options here are saying like, hey, you're up to this shit again. You're still not like, still having a hard time making sales. Hold on. I'm assuming, wait a second, this Hidoku, that's a kind of weird way of using this Hidoku, but I'm assuming it's more along the lines of like, I'll need to look that one up. It seems like a weird way of saying Hidoku there. This is probably just a case of me, like, reading it and then having previous bias of what the character would be saying. And not understanding it.
け、あんたは槍使いの男と一緒にいた。
Oh, you were with
だって
that
よ、
guy
しょ
with
うが
the
ねえじゃ
spear.
ねえか。週末が終わ
I
っ
guess
た
I'm
ば
gonna
か
have
り
to
で、ど
give
の
up
国
on
も
it then.
自国の立て直しが優先なんだ。この島まで足を伸ばす観光客なんざ、そう多くはない。
Well, that's like, I mean, what else am I gonna do? Apocalypse just ended. Everybody's just, working on rebuilding their own nations. There's barely any tourists coming to the island anymore.
地元の人間だって余裕がなくて、適正価格ですら売れねえ。冒険者相手にぼったくりの商売でもしなきゃ。
Which
今の
MSQ
この
are we at
町じゃ
so far?
満足に食っていくことはできねえんだ。
Let me see what the English name for this one is. Apparently the English name for this quest is Sharing the Wealth. Which, no. Just like the situation in Savanna Island. That's dumb. Yeah, no worries. It's like, okay. The locals can't afford it, can't afford stuff, won't sell at a fair price. You can't make a living in this town unless we, like, rip off adventurers. I think it's mid 6.1. How's the impression of the 6 point? I think that they're really good. Like, this one is a little bit of filler, but it's like, it's not egregious or anything. It's just kind of giving you context as to the situation in the on the island right now. Just a sigh of exhaustion. Ah.
この町の生活ぶりについて聞きたいって。
You want to hear about how, what life in the town here is like?
週末の収束に伴って交易が再開され、景気が上向きつつあるのは確か。
Okay. It's true with the whole situation with the apocalypse being resolved has coincided with resumption of trade and the economy improving.
でも、交易商たちの中には、目先の生活のため、商売道具である船を手放してしまった人も少なくない。
Okay, however, there are quite a few traders who had to, sell off their ships. The very tools of their trade just to make ends meet.
週末で命を落とした船乗りだってたくさんいたし、以前と比べて輸出量は激減。
And there were many sailors who lost their lives in the apocalypse. The population has... Oh wait, no, that's not population. What the fuck? Yeah, it's the quantity of exports have sharply declined.
カルザール商会が残っていれば、精力的に
I don't know why I said
運動を取って
population.
くれたんでしょうけど、もっとあの人の力に慣れていれば。
If Karzar's company was still around, I'm sure it would have taken the lead in the, restoration or the reconstruction of trade around here, but... Oh! Yeah, so this is... Yeah, this is, Fuck, I basically forgot about this dude entirely. Nobody noticed how, bad he was going through it. And so the person here is saying, if only we had actually been able to... Honestly, in English, we'd probably say, if only we had known, what Karazar was going through. If only we could have helped him.
住民たちへの聞き込みを終え
Okay. I'm not gonna pull up the whole thing, but in the process of, pulling up the quest name, I saw that line in English, and, they completely got rid of the statement of, if only we had been able to help him more, so that he wouldn't have, been as desperate and cornered as he was. Yeah, they got rid of all of that. It just said if Kalzal and his consortium was still with us, I'm sure he would have found a way to turn our fortunes around. Now, there was a man who got things done. Gods rest his soul. So the entire statement of, man, if only we had noticed how hard of a time he was going through. That's just gone. Oh, the people doing the translation for this game do not do localization. They're hacks. They do rewrites. Calling them localizers is more than they deserve.
おかえり。そちらも終わったようだな。
Welcome back. Looks like and
お
good
前、
work
そ
on
の
your
人
end.
形のままで聞き込みに行ってきたのか？今さら正体を隠すでもなし、本体で移動した方が早そうなものだが。
Did you go around talking to people with that doll? You don't need to hide your identity anymore. Probably would have been faster to go around as yourself.
突然、空から巨体の竜が舞い降りては、民たちが驚くだろう？何より、 私の体が収まる場所はそうないのでな。
I mean, the people would be shocked if they saw, like, a massive dragon suddenly descending from above. You know, and, you know, besides, there really isn't that much room. It's like there aren't that many places that, you know, my actual body can fit into.
違いない。
I mean, you're right.
さて、まずは俺から報告するとしよ
Okay, let me
う。パー
begin.
ラカの里はどうにか持ち直してきた様子だった。
Pakara Village seems to be recovering. You know,
避難民が多かった時期は苦しい生活を強いられていたようだが、イエドリマンの連中の支援もあって耐え抜くことができたそうだ。
wait, are we actually, like, is there a point in the MSQ where you need to play Zhong? Because, dude, if I could play some fucking Mahjong and have it be MSQ critical, I'm in there. Fucking love Mahjong. Unfortunately not. That was a thing in, That was the thing in the Yakuza games, right? Like, there's a Yakuza game where you have to play Mahjong or something, right? This is such a problem because I don't remember this stuff. Okay, like, during the period where there were, like, many refugees, seems like going was quite rough. They needed to, like... Okay, but with, like, the assistance of the Yedorian? The people from Yedorian, they were, you know, able to survive.
もともとは森と川での狩猟によって糧を得て自給自足に近い生活を送っていたようだからな。万全ではなくともなんとか生きていけるとのことだ。
Okay, it seems like, you know... Like, in the old days, it'd always... Or it's like they've always been a more or less self-sufficient society, self-sufficient community, I guess you would say. Surviving from, you know, hunting in the forests and rivers. And, you know, even if things aren't necessarily going great, I'm sure they'll be able to survive.
ふむ。パーラカの里は困窮してるとまではいかないようだな。
Huh? Okay. That was weird. Mahjong is fun. Mahjong is very fun. It's like Jin Rummy with Mario Party bonus stars. I'm barely exaggerating. Okay. Seems like Bakala Village isn't, you know, exactly in critical condition or exactly living in poverty.
では、次は私から報告しよ
Good.
う。ギガ
Now
ント
let
ガル
me
採
begin.
石場では、久しぶりに入港した異国の商船に、巨人石が売れたとのことで、持ち直しの兆しが見られる。
Okay. As for the quarry, showing signs of recovery, the, like, giant's stones. I'm assuming this is, like, giant, because it's Kyojin Ishi, which... Or actually, no, is that Ishi? That's probably something else. What's the other reading for it? Kyojin? Yeah, Seki. Kyojin Seki. Probably. And I'm off. Okay, they sold the, like, giant stones to,
し
merchants.
かし、ラザファンの商
For
人
the first time in a
の
while.
石材の輸出は、最盛期と比べると、遠く及ばないようだ。
Okay, export of stone. Like, this is all important information, but you can see why I'm going skim mode, because it's like... We're literally just talking about the economics of the island. I find this interesting, but it's probably not the most riveting stream content. Okay, export of stone is much lower than what it was at its peak.
ここラザ藩は島国ということもあって収入の大半を他国への輸出貿易によって得ている。
As Razahan is an island nation, most of our income comes from, export trade to other nations.
交易が
Like, from
滞っている理
exports
由
to
が
other
分かれ
nations,
ば
you would actually
対処
say.
のしようもあるが、アキャーリといえドリマンはどんな状況だったか聞かせてくれ。
Okay, we can figure out why trade is stalled in this way. We could, take action to fix it. Okay, so tell me, what was the situation like? What did you hear from, Hyadain and Hyadain?
なるほど。アキャーリでは漁で得た魚の卸先が少ないために日々の稼ぎに限界があるようだな。
Okay. So, yeah, in Hyadain, they have like a limited number of buyers for the fish that they catch, meaning that there's a ceiling on on their daily earnings.
そのためにはイエドリマンが抱えている交易船と人手不足の問題の解決が急務のようだな。
Okay, it seems that there's an urgent need to solve the problem of lack of trade ships and personnel currently facing Yedoriman.
ここに来るまでの道中、街道を一人で歩く子供を見かけた。週末で船乗りだった親を亡くしたのだそうだ。
On my way here, I saw a child walking alone on the highway. Apparently he had lost both of his parents, who were sailors in the
それだけ
apocalypse.
多くの命が失われたということか。
This is one of those lines that can really trip people up. This soredake is going to throw people off very heavily, but it's like... what would you say for this in English? I'm trying to think. Give me a second. I think you might say, like... it goes to show just how great, this tragedy was, just how many lives were lost.
いや、ここで嘆いていても仕方がないな。これより私は、君たちの聞き込みによって得た情報をまとめ、困窮した者たちを救う方法を考えよう。
And no, there's... nothing will be accomplished if we simply... This is another one of those statements that you just kind of don't say in English. It ends up coming off cold in English. You say like, nothing, there is no point in grieving here, or even using the word nageteite, or like nageku, to grieve, to lament. The same sentiment would usually be expressed in a more positive bent in English, in the exact same circumstance. You might just say like, you might just say, like, we can't afford to just stop here. Or even just say, like, it won't fix itself on its own. Like, this problem won't fix itself on its own. Okay, I'll compile, get together all of the information you've given me, and try to figure out ways to help those in
方
need.
針が決まり次第、皆を集めて、指示を出す。 君たちが集めた民の声に私がどう答えるのか、最後まで見届けてほしい。
Okay. Once policy has been decided, gather together the people and, give my, decree. And I'd like for you to, for the two of you to be there to watch over me as I do so. You might say witness, but it's like, mitodokete is, kind of like ascertain. I want you to be convinced that I'm making the right decision as well. Everyone, thank you for being here.
先ほど聖戦師団に運んでもらった金銀財宝はアルザダールの名を借りて私が有事に備えて蓄えてきたものだ。
This is a... Oh, okay. The treasures, delivered here, brought here by the Celestials, were, saved up over time by myself under Otter's name in case of emergency.
それを投じるべきは今を置いて他にあるまい。終末により傷ついた多彩なる都に彩りを取り戻すために。
And there is no better time or no more prudent time than now to utilize those resources. Actually, you would say utilize those funds, right? And in order to restore the color to our, this is diverse, vibrant city. That was, lost in the wake of the apocalypse.
常ならばこのような時、私は大主たちに頼り、その仕事に任せてきた。だが、アヒワーンなき今、彼の手腕に頼ることはできない。
Ordinarily, in times such as these, I would, rely upon the Governor Generals to handle these matters. However, with Ahiwan's passing, I can no longer rely on his capabilities to see this through.
よって、今ここに私が大主として指針を示す。
And therefore, here and now, as Governor General, I will, issue my... It's really not decree. Shishin is... How would you say this? Because he's being very, directive. Now as Governor General, this is my directive.
まず、宝物殿より運び出した財宝の換金を進め、これを財源として、イェドリマンの交易商に出資すべし。人手と船を失った商人を助け、交易の活性化を促すのだ。
First, we should proceed with converting these treasures recovered from the treasury, the treasury into cash. Or into, like, funds. We should utilize them as funds to invest in the merchants of Yadoriman. We ought to, like, aid the merchants who have lost manpower and, you know, the means to trade via their ships, and stimulate the like, restoration of trade.
無論あれほどの惨劇を経験したのだ。誰もが支援を必要としていることは重々承知している。
However, of course, everyone, like, considering the, like, sheer scope of the tragedy, I'm fully aware that all are in need of support.
だが、交易商への支援は、カルザール商会という大きな卸先を失った漁師や職人、石膏たちを救うことにもつながると信じている。
Man, this really is just like, this is a full-on political speech regarding, like, market stimulation. Why would anybody ever play this game in Japanese as a non-native speaker? This is a nightmare. But I bet if I were to look at the English, this would be full of ye olde dragon speak, even though he's not doing any of that shit. He's talking like a politician. However, I fully believe that supporting the merchants will also prove to, like, provide a beneficial impact for the fishermen, craftsmen, and masons who have lost, you know, their major, you know, wholesale, major, I guess it is wholesaler in the Karazaro company. So he's saying, like, he's providing an opinion that we should invest funds into the merchants considering the impact. Like, considering the major impact that losing a reliable customer in the form of the Karazaro company, or Karazaro's company, had, that focusing investment into the merchants in that area, like merchant companies in that area, trading companies rather, you'd probably say trading companies, would provide the most immediate and, like, large-scale positive impact. Okay. What do you plan to do to... Or, like, what do you plan to do for the, you know, children who have lost their parents in the apocalypse?
その点は私も懸念するところだ。ただ単に金を施すだけではいずれ資金は枯渇し、孤児たちが再び路頭に迷うことになってしまう。
That's something I'm quite, you know, concerned about as well. If we were to simply provide them support in the form of money, it's like, actually no, even saying that is being too fancy for what he's actually saying, which is, if we were to simply hand out money, then those funds will eventually be exhausted, and the orphans would find themselves simply on the streets, you know, adrift on the streets once more.
子供たちを恒久的に保護していくための新たな施策を考えなければならないと思っている。
Fuck. This has nothing to do with him. This has nothing to do with him and is entirely just a joke. Who's the guy? Who's the guy? There's a Japanese politician who is very famous for saying complete nonsense. Just like things that mean literally nothing. Who is it? Who is it? I need to find this guy. It is amazing. Oh yeah, Shinjiro Koizumi. Yes. Anytime I see a Japanese, like, political statement of, like, I believe we ought to consider new policies in regards to X, I just imagine that guy. Such as an amazing line from him. I don't even remember the context of it. I'm just gonna give you the translated version of it. It's like, despite reflecting upon my actions, I'm being told as though it does not appear as though I am reflecting upon my actions, which is accurate criticism, and as such, I will be reflecting upon my apparent lack of reflection. It's just, nothing the dude says means anything. It's great. So there are tons of these sort of memes. Hang on, I can actually put this one on stream. These just are, oh, they're so good. They're so good. Hold on. A Yu-Gi-Oh card. That says, when your turn ends, your opponent's turn begins. Trap card. Whoa. That doesn't really apply to the current situation. Virtua is not doing that. But it's just that anytime I see this sort of dialogue in Japanese, it just immediately comes to mind for me. Because he does say, I believe that we must, devise new measures to provide a permanent means of protection, or like a permanent, like, means of protecting the children.
そこで冒険者として数多くの国を見てきた君の意見を聞きたいのだが
Yeah, and then I just looked over at the English, and that line was, Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. He doesn't talk like that. Why do they... That's the only thing I'm gonna say about this shit, but he doesn't talk like that. He doesn't talk like that. If he talked like that, Istinian would have already killed him. As an adventurer who has seen, who has traveled to many nations, I would like to hear your opinion on the matter. Okay. Okay, so it's your options here are in return for like providing material support to the traders, let's collect a portion of their, like, you should collect a portion of their sales revenue, like, as, repayment. Like, that'll be the terms of the investment. The middle option is just like saying, in the spirit of mutual aid, let's ... Or we could use the, like, orphanage at, Edelshire as reference. As an example. I mean, I'm gonna say, like, hey, I mean, the top answer is the most reasonable in terms of... Actually, no, the top answer is just the most reasonable. It's like, the terms of your initial investment are, we'll provide X amount of investment in exchange for... We'll provide this amount of investment in return for a cut of the revenue, and we'll funnel that back into some sort of system to help the kids. I see. What a wonderful idea.
素晴らしいアイデアだ。出資の条件として、商人たちに売り上げの一部を個人運営に拠出するよう契約を結ぶとしよう。
Yeah, this is just completely reasonable. Yeah, what a brilliant idea. As a condition, as part of the terms of investment, we'll have the merchants sign a contract pledging to contribute a portion of their sales to the operation of the orphanage. Or to the operation of an orphanage. Yeah, now then, if, this is going to be the organization put in place, it ought to have a name. Okay, so you're saying, yeah, what should it be named after? Okay, well, we can name it after Karuzaru. Name it after a, great merchant. Either way, it's going to be called Karuzaru.
Karuzaru. なるほど。そういうことか。
Now, Karuzaru. I see. So that's your intention, or something like that. So you would intend to see his name preserved, or like to see him remembered as, not the like false sacred beast that terrorized Salvanea Island, but as a great merchant of Ratahan. I don't believe there would be any objections. However, I believe that, many have lost their family to the beasts. I'd like to hear everyone's opinion. At that time, all of us were in a state of, unrest. Any one of us could have turned into one of those beasts. And although I regret that we could not save Karuzaru, I do not resent him. I'm sure you all agree. That's more like... It's the same for all of you, right?
メラドとか言ったか。これでアコギな商売から足を洗えるかもな。
That kid, you know, Merad, right? Yeah, he might, you'll be able to wash his hands of that, of like running scams.
ではここにカルザール基金の立ち上げを宣言する。善は急げだ。すぐさま取り掛かるとしよ
う。Okay. Yeah, thereby, so then, yeah, here, I hereby declare the foundation or the establishment of the Karazada Foundation. Actually, I'm not sure if that should be fund or foundation. It probably should be foundation. Let's begin at once. Well, actually, that's like we should strike while the iron is hot and begin at once. Okay, Navdeen, assemble a patrol, ensure that, well, that's, Hogosuru is like to, I'm assuming he's saying take them under safe, you know, into, safekeeping. You know, custody, like, / safekeeping, right? Yeah, so it should be funds. It should be fund, not foundation, then. Yeah, start utilizing the fund immediately. Help people in need as soon as possible.
Ryuと人が手を取り合って立ち上がろうとしている。思い出すな、イシュガルド。
Dragons and humans coming together. On the road to recovery. You know, makes you remember Ishgard. Hang on, let me take my reward as part of that, the funds that are meant for the orphans. Let me drain this shit dry.
ブリトラのやつ、表だって大主然とするのにも慣れてき。
Yeah, that's not what the MTL means. That's not what that line means, thanks MTL. The actual line there is like, Vritra has really, you know, gotten used to acting like a leader, you know, like a governor general. You know, all those, like, you know, he hasn't, like, lived that long for nothing. This Tobikoeru. Tobikoeru here could mean a couple of different things that I'm not gonna know until we get it started.
先ほどはありがとうございました。カルザール殿の名を冠した基金が設立されると知れば、彼に世話になった者たちも喜ぶことでしょ
う。Thank you for what you did there. I'm sure that, like those who, like Karazada helped in his life would be happy to know that the fund was established in his name.
ところで、ヤシトラ殿よりことづてを預かっております。アルキミア製薬堂。
Okay, got a message from Yastola. Wanted you to go to the like the alchemical
ゲートについての調査が終わったようだな。魔女殿の元へ行くとす
Seems
る
like
か。
her research in the Void Gate is finished.
待ってくれ、私も行こう。
And let's go, go see the witch. They keep... Ah, man, this is one that I want to check as well, because this is a fun thing that they keep doing. this is sort of like the little jab that everybody gets to get in at Y'shtola, who is normally like, you know, for most of the game was the like very serious one that you couldn't really get one over on. Everybody has just, a lot of characters have taken to referring to her as the witch, or like the great witch, as a little bit of a jab. You know, a lighthearted jab. And they've cut it out like 90% of the time in the English, and it really bothers me, because it's such a fun, recurring bit. You know, he says, Majo dono no moto e. Like, let's go see the witch. Wait, let me go. Yeah, wait, I'll go too. Oh, hey.
大主様は飢饉の準備で忙しいんじゃないか?
Yeah. I thought the, you know, Governor General would be busy setting up the fund, right?
必要な指示はすでに管理たちに伝えている。アヒワーンの下で実務を仕切ってくれていた者たちなのだ。これまで通り彼らを信じるだけさ。
Okay, all necessary instructions have already been given to, you know, the relevant officials. You know, these are the people who were... It's like the same people who were in charge of, like, practical affairs under Ahiwan. You know, and as such, I trust them to do their jobs properly.
それに、ヤシトラの見解に興味があるのだ。あのボイドゲートを見て何を思ったのか。
However, I'm very interested in Y'shtola's point of view. You know, what she thought. You know, viewing that void gate.
なら、行くとしよう。や、シュトラがいるのは、アルキミアセ。
Okay, let's go. See Y'shtola. But really, if this is going to be, like, if this section is going to be a lot of Pretra and Estinian, the tone in which the two characters talk to each other is incredibly important. And in the English in 6.0, Pretra just talks like every other dragon, and Estinian kind of treats him like every other dragon, in a weird way. Whereas, in the Japanese, Pretra is far more human than the other, like, elder great dragons and shit. Which earns Estinian's respect.
来てくれたのね。
Thanks for coming.
それで何か分かったのか?
And so, did you figure anything out?
あの制御装置を調べた結果、ボイドゲートを封印する機能は見つかったものの、拡張する機能は確認できなかった。
Huh. Okay. Okay, after, like, examining the control system of the device, I found the, like, function to steal it. However, I was unable to confirm if there existed a function to expand it.
ブリトラの言葉通り、ゲートを広げるためには、かつて錬金術師たちが用いた方法について調べる必要があるわ。もっとも、その技術はすでに失われているとのことだけれど。
Okay. As Rachel said, in order to, like, for the gate to be expanded, we'll need to investigate the, like, methodology used by alchemists in the past. However, that, you know, methodology, that maybe that it should be technology, because it is Gijutsu, but Gijutsu can mean, like, art, technique, technology. It's kind of got, you know, a range there. Yeah, that I think you might say that method has been lost to the past.
そんな分かりきったことを説明するために俺たちを呼んだわけじゃないだろう。世界を渡る方法とやらの手がかりは見つかった
That's
のか?
okay. That's why it's Tobikoeru. Yeah, you probably didn't. I can't imagine you'd bring us here just to, tell us something that obvious. Have you figured out any sort of, clues on how somebody might cross between worlds?
それを今から説明させてもらうわ。
Let me explain. Okay, honestly, you might say, I'll get to that now.
まず前提として、世界を飛び越えるには次元の狭間を通る必要があるの。
Okay. It's like first, as a 前提として how do you say this? Yeah, first to like establish our the facts, to establish the basic premises, the premise in order to leap between worlds, or like to that's I don't like leap actually for Tobikoeru necessarily. You might say leap, whatever. To leap between worlds, to jump between worlds, you need to pass through the, dimensional rift. Actually, it's not really rift, it's like the space between dimensions, right?
あなたが第一世界へと呼ばれた時のことを思い出してちょうだい。
Please try to remember when you were first, called to the first world. Hmm.
第一世界側にいた召喚者、つまり推奨校がクリスタルタワーの機能を利用した召喚術を展開した。あの時、あなたは目印となる装置に触れたはずよ。
Okay. The summoner from the first world, the Crystal Lord, developed a summoning technique, or a summoning spell, that utilized the capabilities of the Crystal Tower. At that time, you should have touched a... They say mejirushi tonaru? Like a landmark? Or like... what's the term for this? What's the term for this? You might say like locational identification device or something. In English, you might have to be a little bit more specific. No, you would not say lodestar.
世界を隔てる壁に穴が開けられ。
Mejirushi just means like landmark. But you can't really use the word landmark in that way in English necessarily. Just something that anchors your, or like cleanly defines your position in space. Okay. Through that, a hole was opened in the wall between worlds, and you fell into the, like, gap between dimensions.
そこはどの世界にも属していない。まさしく狭間と呼ぶにふさわしい空間。
I hate this word, man. Hazama is such a pain in the ass word. Because Hazama... It's like interval, right? Like thing between things. And it sounds very cool in Japanese, but I'm trying to think of a way that you can word this in English that is equally cool, but I really don't like rift, Rift does not actually really describe the thing, because it's, you know, a rift would be referring to, like, the gate itself. This isn't referring to a rift, it's referring to, like, a, you know, an interval, a place between places. You might say threshold? This is what I'm gonna have to think about. It's like space that does not belong to any world. Interstice? Yeah, probably. That would be close, but it's like, you know, it's a little bit, I don't know, lame. Because Hazama is cool. You might just say gap. You know, it truly fits the name of a gap between dimensions. Like a gap in dimensions. Actually, yeah, you would say, like, gap in dimensions. You might also just call it, like, dimensional gap, then. The whole thing, the Jigen no Hazama.
その後召喚術に引き寄せられる形であなたは狭間を出して第一世界側に出ることができたというわけね。
Okay, following that, you were able to emerge from the gap. You know, on the side of the first world. You know, after being, like, drawn in by the summoning
あ
spell.
らゆる時間と空間がもつれた次元の狭間を原初世界から第一世界まで正確に誘導してみせた。まさに奇跡にも等しい所業よ。
Okay. It's like to be able to... No, this is talking about, yeah, Crystal or Grahatea again. It's like, okay. I think that you would probably attribute this to Grahatea. It's like, yes. The fact that he was, like, able to accurately guide you through the dimensional gap, you know, where time and space is entangled from the original world to the first, it's, you know, nothing short of a miracle.
Nara, 原初世界へやってくる用意どもは誰がどうやって誘導しているって言うんだ?
Yeah, okay. So that reinforces this. So, in that case, who exactly is guiding the, you know, aberrations that come to the original world and how?
あら、いい着眼点ね。
Kuganten? That's like, a good observation.
用意がこちら側へ来る方法はいくつかあるのだけれど、その代表例といえばやはり用意召喚でしょうね。
There are several ways for aberrations to come to our world, but the most typical means is, of course, they keep using this word yoi, so no matter what you translate yoi to, it's going to end up being oversaturated. I do not like void scent whatsoever. Okay, to explain why, we talked about this a lot in ARR, but yoi is like, the kanji there are just like mysterious thing, or like bizarre occurrence. It's bordering on just calling them like supernatural entities. So saying void scent doesn't really line up. The word void is not used at all in the name. And the naming convention, like, people would have been calling them this before they even knew what the void really was. So instead of calling them void sent, they called them, like, aberrations, supernatural entities, the paranormal, effectively. But if you're going to turn that into a noun, then I would want to lean towards something like aberrant. You might just say, like, paranormal entities, but, you know, it gets to be a bit of a mouthful. Yeah, it's like the summoning rituals.
そうね。ガーゴイルと呼ばれる注意の用意を例に説明してみましょうか。
I'm sorry. Are you just going to summon one here? Okay, allow me to explain using a, medium-sized, a medium, middling, aberrant, a gargoyle as an example. Is she going to summon one right here? Or is she just doing an example? Okay, she's just doing an example.
まず、用意を呼び寄せたいと願う召喚者が召喚術によって小さなボイドゲートを瞬間的に開くの。
Okay, first, summoner who wishes to, summon an aberrant must use a summoning spell to... That's like summoning ritual to temporarily open a small void gate.
その際、インプのような力を持たない帝位の用意なら、肉体を維持したままゲートを通り、原初世界へ渡ってこられるわ。
Okay. So at that time, a low-ranking aberrant, as weak as a imp, is able to pass through the gate and emerge, into the original world while maintaining its form, its physical body. It's like, it's very small. So what, are they going to, like,
よ
use...
り力のある注意以上の用意になると、そうはいかない。召喚者一人では賄いきれないような莫大な力を注いで、大きなゲートを開く必要がある。
Okay, so they were saying before, like, that small of a gate would only allow something around the size of an imp. However, this is not the case when it comes to summoning, more powerful aberrants of the, like, middling tiers or above. It becomes necessary for the summoner to open a large gate, utilizing an immense amount of energy that the summoner alone would not be able to provide.
.だから用意召喚では魂だけをこちら側に呼び寄せるの。私たちが誰かさんに
誰かさんで
世界と呼ばれた時のようにね。
Fun. That's why, typically with aberrant summoning practices, only their souls are brought to our world. Like when a certain someone called us to the first world. You're a certain somebody, I won't say who.
.当然、召喚された用意の肉体は第13世界に残ることになるわ。
Oh, they say Exarch. They really loved that Exarch translation despite it being complete nonsense. And naturally, the body of the summoned aberrant will remain in the 13th world. Yeah, Exarch is just total nonsense.
そして引き寄せられた用意の魂には原初世界で活動するためのかりそめの肉体が与えられる。それがより代であり、ガーゴイルの場合は石が
They
最適
keep
とされている。
bringing Yorishiro. Yeah, no, it's the kanji there is like coal. It's about as cut and dry lord as you're going to get. And he's literally the lord of the Crystallium. Like, just use the word lord. Okay, thus, then, then the spirits of these aberrants are drawn to are drawn forth to a suitable physical body to allow them to operate within the original world. That is a vessel. And in the case of gargoyles, stone is considered their, like, optimal... Is, like, considered the optimal choice. There really isn't a good term for Yorishiro in English, but it is a recurring thing. Vessel is probably the best you're going to get.
なるほどな。つまり、用意召喚の場合は、原初世界側
But you
の
want
召
to
喚
keep
者とい
them...
う明確な誘導役がいるということか。
The important part with the translation of Yorishiro is that you're going to want to keep it consistent across all of its usages. Like, it should be the same word being used when, you know, various different characters refer to themselves or other things as vessels or idols, etc. The word should be the same across those so that people know that we're referring to the same concept. They do not do this in the English. Okay. So then, you know, in the case of, like, aberrant summoning, there's a clear guiding figure, a, like, guiding force, the summoner from the original world.
ええ、安全に、そして確実に肉体を保持したまま次元跳躍をするには何らかの誘導役が必要だと理解してもらえたかしら。
Yes. So then, the important thing to understand is that in order to, you know, safely and reliably perform a dimensional jump while maintaining your physical form, some sort of guide is necessary.
私たちが戦った用意の軍勢もアラグ帝国によって開かれたゲートを通って現れた。アラグの魔科学者たちが誘導役を務めたということだな。
Okay, now that we've established this, I can go a bit faster. Okay, so the army of, you know, aberrants that we fought appeared through a gate opened by the Alag Empire, therefore, so then the Alags, you know, Magitech scientists, magical scientists, whatever, operated as the guides.
だが、ボイドクラックのように自然発生した裂け目には、そのような確たる誘導役は存在していないはずだ。だというのに、正しく世界がつながっている。
However, for naturally occurring rifts such as void cracks, there shouldn't be, I don't believe there would be anything operating as a guide. Or it's like there shouldn't be anything operating as a guide. And yet, the worlds are still connected.
そもそも、なぜ第13世界とだけ自然に裂け目が通じるくらい簡単に世界がつながるのだ。
Huh. Oh, that's actually an interesting question. Well, it's because they're like literally physically closer to one another, right? It's like, in the first place, why is it so easy for the original world and the 13th to connect to the point that there's, you know, naturally occurring rifts between them?
その謎を解き明かすことができれば、世界を自在に飛び越えるための糸口となるはずよ。
If we can, like, decipher that mystery, it should provide the key to freely traversing between worlds. No, they established that different ones were, like, different, distances apart. I don't remember what the exact description for it was in English, but in Japanese they described it as effectively being on an orbiting system where they do overlap or get closer to one another at times. But, you know, it's like a series of like, microscope lenses lining up with one another, right? They're all on the same, you know, they're all part of, like, the same device, but they can be further, you know, separated from one another or overlapped. With the important distinction being that as mirrored worlds, things that happen to one influence another directly. But they do describe them being further or closer and things like that. Yeah, I mean, there's the whole diagram in the, that, like, observatory room in the Crystallium.
Oh. だがどうやってその謎とやらを調べるつもりなんだ?
Oh, interesting. So, how exactly are you going to, like, start investigating this mystery?
まさか
Wait, you can't mean... sentence final single word masaka is such a pain in the ass. It's such a pain in the ass. This is one of those things that you just can't... You need to know full context, and even then it's a pain in the ass. It's like, you can't be serious.
ええ、そのまさかよ。まさに新たなる冒険とでも言うのかしら。
Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. So in that case, I would go with something, probably I would go with, like, you can't be serious. Oh, no, yeah, I'm serious. You don't want to do a no way, yes way, even though that is somewhat close, right? It is actually somewhat close, like a no way, yes way. This is kind of like this, that is this, you know, relatively equivalent in meaning, but it's not serious enough. Instead, you would want to go with, like, you have to be joking. You know, oh no, I'm not joking. Or, you can't be serious. No, yeah, I'm serious. You know, you can think of it as, you know, a brand new adventure. You know, you can think of it as the start of a brand new adventure.
人が通れるほどにゲートを拡張する術はすでに失われているのだ。
Were you not listening to me? There's no way to, you know, expand the gate enough for people to pass through.
さらにそれができたとて、第13世界へ一歩足を踏み入れた途端、用意の大軍に襲われる羽目になるんだぞ。
And besides that, even if you were able to do so, the second you crossed over to the 13th, yeah, the second you stepped foot into the 13th, you'd be attacked by a horde of aberrants. Yeah, sounds like fun. Oh, of course we were listening. And naturally, I won't be able to do it alone.
でも、第13世界へ渡り、暗闇の雲を撃退した経験のあるあなたと一緒なら、不可能ではないはずよ。
But, you know, if we're with you, it was crossed to the 13th, you know, fought the cloud of darkness. It should be, you know, just about possible. Okay, these are fun. These are fun. Honestly, this top one is like, you know, Skial. You might just translate to "I'm in," and then the bottom one is, you know, the literal translation is, you know, things are gonna get busy. I don't know what you would go with for that. Probably something like, you know, things are gonna get fun.
ありがとう。あなたならそう言ってくれると思っていたわ。
Thank you. Yeah, again, here you would probably say, like, I knew you'd be up for it, rather. Instead of saying, I thought that you would say that.
お言葉に甘えて、また頼りにさせてもらうわね。
Okay. They're just giving me all of the most obnoxious set phrases. They're giving me all the most obnoxious set phrases. This is literally, I will take you at your words and your word and rely upon you once more. Honestly, you might say, like, you know, the previous one was like, you know, you would say, I'm in, and then here you'd say, alright then, I'm gonna hold you to that. Glad to have you on board.
すぐにでも第13世界へ向かいたいところだけれど、北条会のゲートはラザハンが
Okay, I want to go to 13th immediately, but the, you know, getting the secret facility has been, you know, maintained, managed by the Governor General for years. We won't be able to open it without a, you know, a certain Governor General's permission.
先ほども言ったように、恩人である君たちの願いは可能な限り叶えたい。ラザハンの子らに類が及ぶことがない。
There wasn't a certain there. It's like we won't be able to open it up without, you know, the Governor General's permission. As I said before, you know, you know, you saved our nation. I want to help you to the greatest extent possible, provided it does not bring harm to the, you know, children of Razahan.
もちろん、用意がこちら側に侵入しないよう細心の注意を払うつもりよ。その前に、まずはゲートを拡張する必要があるけれど。
Of course, we're going to take the utmost care to ensure that no aberrants, you know, come to this side. But first, you know, first things first, we need to, you know, find a way to expand the gate.
方法はあるのか？
Is there even a way?
それをあなたに聞きたいのよ。当時の錬金術師たちからどんな手法を使うつもりなのか説明くらい受けていたのではなくて。
And that's what I wanted to ask you about, or that's what I wanted to ask him about. In English, that's the more reasonable way of saying that. You must have at least gotten an explanation from the alchemists of that time as to what they were intending on doing.
ああ、クラックの拡張に関する研究はデミール家の錬金術師に一任していたのだが。
Research into the, like, expansion of the Void Crack was given to the alchemists of the Demir family, but looks like was entrusted to.
デミールの異列教に名を残す錬金術師の名家ね。
Okay, that's a very that's a line for the audience. Demir, a famous family of alchemists who Oh, yeah, okay. Damn, it's coming back to this shit, this name. What did they call this in the English? It's like Fuck, I had something for this and I've completely forgotten it. What was this shit called? Shit, man, I would need to go back to when this first showed up. I had a good name for this and then I forgot it. I had like a really good name for this. But it's like the name is part of the Demeter's something. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Hold on, hold on. No, I'm remembering now, I'm remembering. Brain blast. Oh, if this is true, this is even funnier than I possibly could have imagined. In the English, doesn't the place that that name is associated with not have the Demeter thing in front of it? What is it called? Oh yeah, it's just called The Great Work. Oh my god. Wait a minute, yeah, it's not called the Demeter anything in English. It's just called The Great Work. Meaning that that whole thing doesn't make any sense. That's amazing. I love when they do this shit. Ah, fuck. I'm trying to remember. I had a really good translation for it. Because I called it, like, the Demeter something. You know, the... You know, it's like grand achievement or something along those lines. Monument. Triumph. That was it. I called it the Demeter, or like Demir's Triumph. Or you could go with the Demeter Triumph or Demir's Triumph. Which would keep the name. And if you weren't like, you know, if you were playing the game at a reasonable clip, that would have been something that you would have been, you know, you would have gotten... It would be relatively recent in your mind. You would know of the place as, you know, the Demeter Triumph, or whatever. So instead, in English, they have to say, oh, the family associated with the Great Work. But you wouldn't know that at all. I might be misremembering and they actually brought up the name, like, once or twice. But it's definitely not, like, part of the main name in English. Hey, dumbasses, maybe you should stop changing things for no fucking reason. Maybe if there's a name... like a place name in a name, you know, maybe you should keep that. You're not the writers, you don't know when that's going to come back up and be important. You can't just change shit whenever you want and assume that there will be no repercussions. I mean, clearly they can, because nobody fucking notices at all, but it's stupid, it's so dumb. Okay, so it's... Although all of the, you know, in-depth, technical terms really went over my head, the first thing that they did was analyze an aberrant that came through the, crack.
そしてその用意に類似した能力を持つ人工用意とも言うべき魔法人形を作り上げクラックの拡張に利用したらしい
Okay, then they created a... You know, a magical doll of... You know, an artificial aberrant, possessing similar abilities, attributes to the aberrant itself, and somehow used that to expand the crack.
人工用意ですって
And, yeah, artificial aberrant. Fuck, I hate that that turns into alliteration, but whatever.
デミール家は 地の都シャーレアンの賢人に憧れていてな。人工用意についてまとめた書物を学会に提出したそうだが、功績と認められるどころか金賞扱いされ大層落ち込んでいたよ。
Oh no. The Demeter family greatly admired the sages of Hyadain, the city of knowledge, capital. You would probably say capital seat of knowledge. They submitted a book compiling their their information on these artificial aberrants. To to the academy or to an academic society, but instead of being recognized for their achievement, it was simply banned, leaving them greatly disappointed. It's like to their great disappointment.
その当時はまだググラ幻想図書館はなかったはず。
Okay.
となれば
In that case, it must be stored in a forbidden, banned library somewhere. That time, the Gura Phantasmal Library didn't exist yet. So in that case, or it shouldn't have existed yet, so in that case. Okay, Numenon. Great library, Numenon. Numenon.
その可能性が高いわね。
I believe it's quite likely. Yeah, it seems the most likely.
オールドシャーレ
Okay, let's go to Old Charlan quickly as possible. ASAP.
そっちは任せた。俺がついてったところで何ができるわけでもあるまい。メラドのやつでも探して基金について教えてやるさ。
Okay. Now you guys can handle that. There's nothing for me to do. Like even if I went with you, there'd be nothing I could do. I'll find that Merad kid and tell him about the fund.
私たちも行きましょう。
Right, let's go. Let's be on our way.
本当にボイドへ渡るつもりなのか。ならば私はどうすればいい。
Man, it really bothers me what they did to this dude's character in the English. He doesn't talk like a fucking grandiose dragon. He says wait, they're really going to go to the void? What do I do? What should I do? He really just says so then, what should I do? What do I do? He doesn't say what be prudent, blah blah blah, whatever bullshit you want him to say. Talks like a reasonable person. Okay. So we're going back to Old Charlane for the 50th time. And I'm going to the bathroom real quick. Hang tight. I'm back. No, but like, I just looked over, and that line in English was, "They are resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?" He doesn't talk like that, man. It's just nonsense. Honestly, that's... People usually hard focus in on tone differences when they're critiquing translations. And I've tried to mostly focus on, like, material, factual, missing parts of information in the plot, just because it's a more compelling argument. Like, you know, people can be like, oh, it's just a stylistic choice. They're trying to localize it for Western audiences, which is completely disingenuous and a bullshit argument. But it's a lot easier to just prove that the translators are doing a bad job when you say, hey, look, this whole shitonarumono thing, or shitotarumono thing, is completely missing and replaced with nothing. You know, all of this foreshadowing, all of these lines, their descriptions of what the Asians are doing, it's all just gone. You can't argue against it, it's just factually gone. But, like what they do to Vritra and Urianger really does piss me off a lot. Because it's just the sort of, like, hacky, faux, medieval, ye olde garbage that makes people not like fantasy. You know? Like, that's the sort of crap that really turns average people away from quote-unquote nerd media.
さて、禁書庫に入るためには、哲学者議会の許可をもらう必要があるが、
Okay, in order to enter the forbidden library, we need permission from the Philosopher's Parliament. Okay, we need to find somebody willing to take initiative. Anybody, idea about anybody who might be willing to hear us out?
すぐには思いつかないわよね。
Yeah, I can't think of anyone either. I mean, I was gonna say this guy, but I just couldn't remember his name. Montishune. This guy's name is impossible to say. Montishune. Montishune. I think. President of Academy of Magic. He supported us? Okay, yep. Wait a second, we get to talk to this guy again? I love this guy. Wait, I love this guy. This guy's awesome. We're gonna go see Grandpa. I love this guy. Oh, ho, ho. Yoi dewa nai ka. I love this dude. Hmm.
私は7歳の頃に的屋に弟子入りして、それから10年間は修行の日々を送っていたから、魔法大学には通っていないの。
Huh. Interesting. I became Matoya's apprentice when I was 7, spent the next 10 years under her training, so I didn't attend the University of Magic.
同じ賢人だと、サンクレットもそうね。彼は、ルイゾワ様に連れられてきた後、去る賢人に預けられて、諜報やサバイバルの技術を叩き込まれたのだとか。
Oh yeah, yeah, this is the, like... So they're explaining it again as to how he got his PhD. So it's like, 同じ賢人だと It's like, okay, as for, you know, another... Or it's... Actually, no, that Duttle is, like, speaking of sages. You know, Thancred is one as well. After he was, like... After he was, brought in by Duisel. Huh, wait a second, this is Soru Kinjin. Hmm? Ah, man, there are way too many potential definitions of this Soru for me to understand it intuitively. I'm just gonna ignore it for a second. It's not monkey. It's not monkey. Yeah, okay, he was, like, entrusted to another sage who, like, taught him, or, like, drilled espionage and survival techniques into him.
それにしても、もし私が魔法大学に入学していたら、どんな学生生活を送っていたかしらね。
Yeah, that would be really cool if you had a 1.0 character and, like, were a sage. You probably would have a lot of different dialogue. You know, I wonder what, you know, my student life would have been like if I had enrolled into the university here. Your two options are, like, oh, you know, you would be, like, go off and, like, have tea at the last stand after classes were over, you know, ... etc., you know, going off about what it would be like to be a student here. Or you can just say, I cannot imagine in the slightest. Well, actually, no, that's not Sozo Yatsukanai. I mean, kind of. You probably, it is more like, you know, I just can't even imagine. I'm gonna go with the more fun, like, ooh, you know, you after lectures are done, you go over and have some tea at the last stand. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that does sound nice. You know, having tea with friends in the afternoon. You know, that is like, that is literally, you know, having afternoon tea with friends and, you know, talking about magic.
でも、そうね。的親の下で修行した日々も、そう悪いものではなかったわ。
But, you know, the days I spent as Motoya's apprentice weren't so bad.
華やかなキャンパスとは程遠い、暗くてジメジメした洞窟で、お茶よりも泥水をすすった回数の方が多かったとしても、私にとってはかけがえのない青春よ。
Okay, so this is not a literal turn of phrase. This is not a turn of phrase that exists in English to, like, saying, like, you know, drinking, like, sipping muddy water is kind of like a term for just enduring hardship. So that's not really literal. You know, it's like, even though, like, you might say, like, even though I went through hell. I don't know if you wouldn't want to use hell, but it's like, you might say, like, even though, like, my days were, you know, not quite the, like, comfortable, fun campus life, drinking tea, you know, when I was off in a dark, damp cave, you know, miles and miles away. You know, to me, that was my, you know, that was my childhood, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Yes, come on. Please be another voiced cutscene. Please be another voiced cutscene with this guy.
おやおや、
あー
珍しい客が来たものじゃ。わしに何か用かの？
Oh, how unexpected. Do you need anything from me?
突然、押しかけてしまってごめんなさい。実は、ヌーメノン大書院の禁書庫の立ち入り許可をいただきたいの。
Sorry for showing up without any notice. We want permission to enter the Forbidden Library and, the Forbidden section in the Great Library of Numenon.
ほう、今回は、無断で忍び込んだりはせずに、正面切って、承認を得ようというわけじゃな。
God, I love this guy. Oh, so this time you're not going to just sneak in without permission. You're actually going to, come and try and get approval, huh?
じゃが、理由を聞かせてもらえるかの？終末という最悪が去り、平穏を取り戻した、この世界で、禁書庫に立ち入ってまで調べたいこととは？
Well then, would you mind, indulging me as to why? Now that the apocalypse has passed and peace has been restored, what could you possibly, want to know so badly that you'd, want to enter the Forbidden Library? Or that's like, it's not Forbidden Library, it's like Forbidden Section, rather. I keep saying library.
ほう、人為的に、ボイドゲートを拡張する秘術とな。
Oh, like lost technique to artificially expand the void gate.
ラザハンにおける錬金術師の名家、デミール家が残した書物が、ヌーメノン大書院に収蔵されている可能性が高い。
Okay. There's a, high possibility that the, book, or books left behind by the Demeter family, a famous family of alchemists in Razan, are stored in the, Great Library, yes.
しかし、
Okay.
その秘術を得て何とする？よもや、ボイドに渡ろうとでも言うつもりか？
Yeah, but what would you intend to do with this knowledge? Surely you don't mean to cross over to the void.
ええ、そのまさかよ。
God, she keeps saying Sono Masaka yo. She keeps saying Sono Masaka yo. Stop saying it. It's like, again, you would go with surely you can't seriously intend to cross over to the void. Yes, I'm quite serious.
何のためにじゃ？
Why, exactly?
世界を飛び越える術を解き明かし、再会を訳した者に会いに行きたいというのも理由の一つではあるけれど、
Okay, one of the reasons is to, go and see person someone I promised to meet once I had uncovered discovered the means to leap between worlds.
私は天の果てで聞いて感じて改めて考えた。世界の真理とは何か、その行く末はいかなるものか、結局私はそのすべてを知りたいのよ。
Yeah, at the edge of the universe I heard, felt, and, and thought over once more, what is what the truth of the world... That's such a obnoxious way of saying it. Sekai no shinri to wa nanika? I guess you would say about the, truth of our world, about its future. and so, I decided I wanted to learn everything possible about it.
そこに知らないことが待っているなら、ボイドゲートの一つや二つ、意地でもこじ開ける、そういうものではなくて
Amazing. It's like in the face of like knowing the unknown. What's forcing open a void gate or two? Honestly, that's probably what I would go with entirely. Like, in the face of knowing the unknown. What's forcing open a void gate or two?
ほほほ、こりゃ、傑作じゃ。
It's suck that's... I think you would just say like, ha ha ha, spectacular.
それでこそ、シャーレアンの賢人であり、あのルイゾワが見出した若者たちよ。
This again, pain in the ass. He's talking about the like, sages, all of them in general, here. I think you would say this is precisely what, Duizo saw in all you young sages.
理由を問いただしてはみたが、お主らが禁書を悪用するとも思えんでな。
Okay. Yeah, it's like I figured I would ask. I figured I would ask what your intentions were, but, as far as you all are concerned, I have, no concern that you would ever misuse a banned book.
いいじゃろう。禁書庫への立ち入りを哲学者議会に掛け合ってみよ
う。And so then, now let's, go speak with the Philosopher's Parliament. Yeah, Philosopher's Parliament. About getting you entries of the, forbidden section of the library.
じゃが、念には念を、こういう時に味方につけると、頼もしい男にも、頼むとしようかの。
However, just to be sure, in times like these, I should have, like, I'll call in a favor from... I think in English you would just say, like, I know just the man to ask for a favor at a time like this.
古ジュのじゃよ。可愛い子供たちが世話になった者たちの頼みとあっては、そうそう断りはせんじゃろ
う。This is also obnoxious. Well, actually, no, it's like, yeah, Furushino, of course. If it's a, request coming from the two of you have taken, such good care of those adorable grandchildren of his, I'm sure he will find it hard to say no.
確かに、古種の死を味方につけられたら、これ以上、頼もしいことはないわね。
Okay, let's go. Get him on his side.
大事なことを言い忘れておった。ボイドゲートの先に待つ謎とやらが分かったら、こっそりわしにも教えてくれるかの？
Oh, I forgot to mention something quite important. If you do happen to figure out what's behind that, that mystery that awaits you beyond the Void Gate, would you mind, telling me about it, discreetly?
わしの知識欲とて、お主らには負けてはおらん。それくらいの見返りを要求しても、罰は当たらんじゃろ?
Okay. Yeah, the MTL again is completely fucking up. He's saying, my desire for knowledge is, still a match for yours. Like, he's basically saying I'm not just some, like, old dude that doesn't want to know new things. That much should be, like, fine as as payment, right? Like, that shouldn't be too much to ask. You probably say, like, that shouldn't be too much to ask. Right? Of course. You'll be the first one we tell. Yay. That sort of character is very difficult for me to try and give tone to, because he speaks in a, very kindly old man sort of way. Like a very, kindly old man sort of way. It's like the washi and jaro and all of that stuff. So you would want him to sound like a grandpa. I'm not particularly good at that.
Oya, Oreo sama, Yashitora sama, yokoso, irashshai mashita. Sate,
Okay.
古市の氏に相談したいことがあるのだけれど、ご在宅かしら?
There's something we'd like to discuss with Mr. Furushino. Is he at home?
少々お待ちを。
Yes, please wait a moment. Well, no, because the way that old people talk is entirely dependent on the generation that they belonged to when they were young.
まさか、君たちが私を訪ねてくるとはな。
That's the
相
problem.
談があると聞いたが
I can't say I was expecting a visit from you. I heard there's something you'd like to ask me about. Something to discuss.
では、聞こう。内容によっては、ご期待に添えないかもしれないが。
Okay. Yeah, then I'll hear you out. However, depending on, the matter at hand, I may not be able to, accommodate you as you'd desire. He's basically just saying, like, I don't know if that would be a good way of saying it, but he's basically just saying, like, don't get your hopes up, I'm not guaranteeing that I'll be on your side or help you out with this. You probably say, like, I may not be
ま
able
ず
to
は、
accommodate
以
your
前のよう
request.
に忍び込んだりせず、正規の手順で許可を取りに来たことを褒めるべきか。
褒めるべきか. Amazing. Deeply sarcastic. I suppose I should commend you for, asking permission through the proper channels instead of just sneaking in as you did before.
モンティシェーニュ氏にも同じことを言われたわ。二度とあのような真似はしないつもりよ。緊急時でもなければ。
Montesquieu said the same thing. We have no intention of doing so again, except in the case of an emergency.
やれやれ。
Yeah. My. Or
しかし、
There isn't
禁書と
really
は
a
禁
good
じられてい
yada
る
yada.
からこそ、禁書なのだ。緊急ではない
you
と
might
いう
just go
の
with the
なら、な
sarcastic
ぜ
I'm sure. Yeah, however, forbidden books are named as such precisely because they are forbidden. If it isn't an emergency, then why exactly? Do
次
you
元の
need
壁
it?
に隔てられた異なる世界にあって再会を願う師弟がいる。竜や人を守るため次元の狭間の向こうへと渡った姉の無事を弟は長きにわたり願い続けてきた。
Man, that's long. Yeah, in different worlds separated by, a dimensional barrier, a brother and sister wish to be reunited. In order to... Fucking hell, this is long. Okay. You have to flip the whole thing around. This is all one super long run-on sentence. Okay. Okay. I think it would be, you would say something like, you know, an incredibly long time ago, you know, in order to like, protect both the dragons and humanity, and, like, the sister. What, like, his sister crossed over to the void, or, you know, crossed the gap between dimensions, or crossed the dimensional gap, and ever since, you know, the brother, he has, like, prayed for her, hoped and prayed for her safety.
けれど今、
God, that was
弟
awkward.
は姉との再会を諦めたかのように振る舞っている。週末に傷ついた人たちの未来を思うがゆえ、彼らを救うことに全力を注ぐために。
But now, it's like he like conducts himself as though he has given up all hope of ever seeing her again, you know, in order to like devote his entire being to like those harmed in the wake of the apocalypse. And so I would, no, I wish to do everything in my power to help him.
確かに世界にとって急を要する問題ではないでしょうね。それでも私たちは拾い上げるに足るとそう思っているわ。
That should be then. Yeah, it should be then. Now, certainly this isn't a, you know, pressing issue for the world at large. But I believe it's still worthwhile.
大切な家族を守るため、星渡る術を研究せんとしてきたあなたなら、少しは気持ちを理解していただけるんじゃないかしら。
There's a fucking gnat flying around right at eye level. It's so obnoxious. It's like you spent so many years, you know, researching how to traverse the universe to protect your, you know, beloved family. I'm sure you can, you know, understand how he must feel.
我々も共造世界について知らないことは多い。君たちの第一世界での経験をいつか語り聞かせてくれるのなら、協力する理由が生まれるというものだ。
There's still so much we don't know about the mirrored worlds. If you would be willing to tell us, you know, of your, like, knowledge and experiences in the first world, we would be willing to cooperate. Or we would have ample reason to cooperate, rather.
安心するのはまだ早い。決めるのはあくまでも哲学者議会だ。
Don't celebrate just yet. Matter is still for the Philosopher's Parliament to decide.
今日の定例会議にて審議対象としよう。結果が出るまでバルデシオン分館で待ってい
Okay,
なさい。
we'll discuss this at today's, like, regularly scheduled meeting. Wait at the Balesian Annex until the decision has been made. I mean, I can't imagine that this is going to go well. Like, the other dragon would have been there for several, you know, thousands upon thousands of years. It's not like they're just gonna be chill. I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. I'm sure everything is gonna be fine, Smile.
定例が終わったのね。それで、哲学者議会は、なんと
Okay, the, like, meeting is over. Looks like the meeting is over, so what did the, Philosopher's Parliament say?
お主の師、的親といえば、何かと議会とやり合ってきた相手じゃからな。その弟子が、申請者として難色を示す者もおったのじゃが。
I mean, that's true. Like, yeah, your master, your teacher, Matoya, well... No, she's like, what? It's like she's been at odds or she's butted heads with the, with Parliament more than, you know, on more than one occasion. When they learned that, you know, you, her disciple, was the, you know, the applicant in question, there were some reservations, you know, there was some reluctance. Well, actually, no, that's more like disapproval. Yeah, you would actually just say more straightforward. There were some who, you know, expressed their disapproval.
我ら、シャーレアンが、お主らから受けた、大恩、今こそ返す時だと、一人の議員が熱心に語っての。
Okay, and now he's doing his best to embarrass Furushino. He's doing a little bit of a bit here. Wait, what? Oh yeah, that's a shit ton of random, like a random spike in concurrent viewers. That's odd. Yes, then it's like there was a, you know, a certain member of Parliament made a quite impassioned argument that, you know, now was the time for Hyadain to repay their, you know, the great debt that we owe all of you. And then he looks over. Fun.
それがきっかけで、他の議員の心も固まったようじゃ。無事、禁書庫への立ち入り許可が下りたぞ。
That's a very fun little bit. He said that Furushino gave a very impassioned argument. He's like, he was, you know, he was very adamant about it. And that, you know, that started things off, and it's like that changed the tide, and, you know, it seems like, yeah, the rest of the Parliament was quite convinced. You've been, granted permission to enter the forbidden section.
ありがとう。とても助かったわ。
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
ともかく、だ。許可は下りたが、禁書から得た知識の取り扱いには、くれぐれも注意するように。
Okay. Yeah, in any case, you've been granted permission, but you are advised to be extremely careful in, you know, handling the knowledge you obtain from these forbidden books.
要件は以上だ。私はこれで失礼する。
That's all for now. I'll be taking my leave.
ほほほ、あやつは相変わらずじゃの
He, the same, he's the same as always, haha.
彼の誠実さがあってこそ、シャーリアンは2度にわたって大撤収の計画を進めることができたのでしょうね。
And it's that, well, like, sincerity, that straightforward nature of his that Hyadain was able to proceed with the, the two great evacuations. I guess you would probably say accomplish.
ひ
Rather.
とまず、うまくことが運んで何よりね。
Well, for now, I'm just glad everything went well.
子供の頃から何度も忍び込もうと、立ち入りを夢見た禁書庫についに入ることが許されたのね。
Okay, this is also very fun. Ever since I was a kid, I'd dreamed of breaking into, well, entering the forbidden section of the library. And now finally I've gotten permission to enter it.
デミール家が編み出したボイドゲートを拡張するための秘術、必ず見つけてみせるわ。
I will find that, method devised by the Demir family to expand void gates. Yay.
準備が良ければ出発しましょう。
It's like, yeah, the forbidden door. Ooh, fun. Or like a forbidden door. You might say gate.
お主ら、すぐに禁書庫へ向かうつもりかの
Why did that book in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone scream when he opened it? Who enchanted that book to do that? Are you telling me you wouldn't? I'd be doing that to so much shit. Imagine just going around the kitchen and enchanting every single random jar to just scream when people open it. Like it's in excruciating pain. Amazing prank. Okay, are you going to go to the forbidden
そのつもりよ。
section right away? Yes, that's
なら
our
ば、ル
intention.
ーメノン大書院へ行き、ガイド用の魔法人形を探すといい。
Okay. Okay, it's like we need to talk to a
わ
guide.
かったわ。
No.
ありがとう。
Okay, thank you.
では、わし、
Now I must be on my way as well now.
私たちも行きましょう。
Okay, let's go. Skimming. Is this gonna be another actual dungeon or just a regular ass thing? Every fork can now feel pain. That's a good prank. I would probably go with spoons can drown. You put it in the soup and it just starts making horrible gurgling noises.
あなたとグラハティアが訪ねてくるまで、ここで次元跳躍の手がかりを探していたのだけれど、それが禁書庫にあるだなんて、まさに東大かくらしね。
Okay. Yeah, okay, until you and Grahatia came here looking for me, I've been searching here for, any clue I could find about dimensional transport. But it was, right under my nose the whole
あら
time.
かじめ、アルザダール3世の冒険譚を知っていたら、そこからたどり着いていたかもしれないわね。児童向けの伝記なんかも読んでみるべきだったのよ。
If I'd known about the adventures of, that adventure story of Azahar, Auruzadaru III, I might have found my way there. yeah, like I should have read some, like, biographies, you know, aimed at children.
非現実的なことを成し遂げるためには常識に
It's
縛ら
like
れない
children. You probably say
柔軟な
children's
発想力
biographies.
が必要。時間があったらもっといろんな本を読んでみたいわ。
Okay. To, you know, achieve the impossible, you need like, to be able to think flexibly, you know, not be bound by common sense. It's like, yeah, if I had more time, I'd, you know, really love to read all sorts of different books.
オレオ様とヤシュトラ様、哲学者議会より招っております。準備はよろしいですか？
Stop doing this. This is my earnest plea to every Japanese fiction writer. Stop doing this. It makes it impossible to read. Please. This is... Yeah, player character, Yoshitola. Yori. Like, yeah, we have received confirmation from the Philosopher's Parliament. Are you ready to leave?
それでは禁書庫へご案内いたします。
Okay. So then, allow me to guide you to the Forbidden Library. Or the, you know, the Forbidden section. It's just talking like a robot. Ooh.
この中にデミール家が編纂した禁書があるはず。探してみましょう。
Okay, that forbidden book compiled by the Demir family should be here. Let's get to looking for it. I am a big fan of the music here. Okay. Please, browse at your leisure. Hold on. Question. Considering that this is all katakana, what did they do for the robot? What did they do for the robot's speech? What did they do?
手に取ったことのない書物がこんなにも。
If they were not stupid, they would either do all caps or italics. Or all caps and italics. So many books here I've never seen
わかっ
before.
ているわよ。今は探し物が線だってこと。
Now there's something something specific we need to find. I mean, I need to pick all of them that are not the right book first.
第6西暦1564年、アマルジャ族が、番神、イフリートを召喚した。情報筋によれば、この番神は巨大なトカゲ状の姿を持ち、火の魔力を操る権能を持っていたという。
Are you fucking kidding me? They did mixed... Why? But why? Why would you ever do that? It just is supposed to sound artificial. That's insanely stupid. Man, they never disappoint. They really never disappoint. Every time, man. Honestly, you can just imagine, like, what's the dumbest possible option that they could do in localization, and they'll do it every time. It's great. Okay, in the year 1564, 6th, astral era. The Amalja summoned the idol Ifrit. Okay, like according to our sources, this idol had possessed the form of a colossal lizard. It had the ability to wield, control fire magic.
神おろしが信仰心や祈りによって発動することを考えれば、番神の姿や権能が召喚者が信じる神話と一致していたことは、魔法学的には妥当な結果と言えるだろう。
Okay, considering that invocation is triggered by faith and prayer, it is, like, magically speaking, a reasonable outcome that the idol's forms and capabilities align with the, mythology believed in by the summoners.
では、万能の知性を信じる者が祈りを捧げ、神おろしを行ったとしたら、どのような存在が生じるのか。地の神たる最悪や、それに類する存在を召喚したとしたら
Okay. Then, if one, who were to believe in an, omnipotent entity were to, like, offer up prayers and perform an invocation, what sort of being would come into existence? Like the god of knowledge Saryak? Or something akin to it? Something similar
呼
to
び下
him?
ろされた人工的な万能神は、地の深淵を知り得るのか。もしそうだとしたら、その知識は、どこから生じたというのか。
Yeah, I like this. Would an artificially... Yeah, like an artificially omnipotent god. Like, truly understand the depths of all knowledge. If so, from where would that knowledge originate?
私は、古代世界がいかなるものかを知りたい。過去に戻る手段がないとしたら、過去を知る存在を召喚すれば、しかし、回答を得たとしても、真実か否か確認する術はないのだ。
Interesting. I want to know what the, ancient world was like. If there is no way to return to the past, then perhaps, like, one could summon a being that would know of it. Now, however, even if one were to receive an answer from such an entity, there would be no way of verifying its veracity.
どうやら、探している禁書ではないよ。
Doesn't seem like the book you're looking for. Yeah, no shit.
異界で出会った人型の美しい用意、獣のようにエーテルを求める他の個体と違い、今にも消えてしまいそうなほど、儚い瞳をしていた。
Oh no. Oh no, we're doing this again. Okay. This is a thing that you... Okay. To explain here, this is a situation we would actually probably need to localize fairly heavily, because this concept of, like, 今にも消えてしまいそうなほど儚い瞳をしていた. It's a expression of beauty that doesn't really work in English whatsoever. That, like, in another world, I met a, like, beautiful humanoid aberrant. Like, yeah, unlike the others that, hunted out ether like, wild beasts. The literal translation is it possessed, like, transient or ephemeral eyes that seemed as though they might, vanish away at any moment. That's just a statement of beauty, effectively. So you would probably not actually go with the whole ephemerality thing. You might say, like, it was, like, beautiful yet fragile. Like, you know, like a snowflake on the verge of melting away. You might go with something like that, or you might just go with a completely different metaphor for beauty. And completely ditch the concept of ephemerality entirely. Because this is just a very typically Japanese way of describing beauty.
あの用意は彼女と呼ぶべきか、それとも、いや、そんな些細なことは問題ではない。
些細なこと? Okay, he's one of those. Fuck. Fuck. All of it, the only thing that came to my mind right here was just Gardevoir, male. Fuck. It's like, I wonder if I should refer to that aberrant as she. You know, as her. Or if perhaps, no. You know, that, you know, such a, you know, trifling matter is of no importance.
美しき存在は、ただそれだけで愛を捧げるに足るのだから。
This fucking guy. It's like a being that beautiful, like, is worthy enough for like, love. That's an awkward ass way of saying it, but it's like, it's hot, so it's okay. Effectively, in more fancy terms. Good bit. There was I can't remember which dungeon it exactly was, but there was like the exact same thing before with the succubus. Hey, here we go. Here's the bit. Okay. Okay, this book describes the... Was it mentioned what happened with the 12 when they tried to reseal the idol Bahamut? Oh yeah, Duiso said that they basically just weren't able to do anything, that they were simply, you know, a summoned idol, they were not the 12 in of themselves, and that he utilized, like, they, you know, got wiped out basically instantaneously, then he utilized the ether that resulted in them being destroyed, alongside the collective will of the people present to see Bahamut sealed away and defeated, to then do it himself. You know, it wasn't those same... Like, it wasn't the 12. It was not the 12. That was just an idol that was vaguely in the form of what people expected the 12 to be. In that whole segment with Bahamut, Duiso then goes on to tell his, you know, his children that you shouldn't summon idols, you shouldn't believe in idols, or anything like that. It's a bad thing to do. And then in the English, Alfino and Alize keep saying by the 12 all the fucking time. They learned nothing from good old Grandpa. It's great. Okay, this book describes the, like, secret, or forbidden, you might say, technique developed by Nuhashan, the 9th head of the Demir family, you know, namely the means of controlling the, like, a gate connecting worlds.
シャーレアン魔法大学学長伝、並びに魔法学学会会員の皆様に友情の証として我が知識のすべてを送るものである。
As a token of friendship, we would like to present our knowledge to, you know, to gift our knowledge to the president of the It's like Gokucho is university president. You might say headmaster. I'm just gonna say university president. The university president of the Charlayan University of Magic. And, you know, the, like, researchers in magical society at large. Or it's like magical researchers at large. We'd like to present our knowledge as a present,
探
etc.
していた金書に間違いないようだ。
Okay, this is the thing we're looking for.
お目当ての本を見つけたですって。ごめんなさい、出遅れたわ。軽くめくった本の中身が気になってしまって困ったものね。
Okay, that's fun. Yeah, oh, you found the book we were looking for? Yeah, sorry, I, got a bit wrapped up in this. I just couldn't help but, get, into the book that I was reading there. Yeah, sorry about that. Honestly, you might go with, like, bad habit. I'm sorry.
ありがとう、助かったわ。
Oh, thanks for the help.
この署名から感じるエーテル、間違いない。デミール家のものだわ。イレス教で何度か見かけたことがあるもの。
Okay. Wait, what? That seems a bit... How is that lasted this long? It's like the ether I'm sensing from this signature. Yeah, there's no doubt it belongs to the Demir family. I've seen it. Oh, what? It's like, I mean, I guess, like, I've seen it several times, or, at the Triumph. Demir's Triumph.
早速、中を確認してみましょう。
Alright, let's take a look inside. Oh, this is gonna be long as fuck, isn't it? It's gonna be so long. Oh no, this is gonna be so long. Ooh!
用意には異界ボイドより
Damn.
仲間を召喚する者がいる。中でも飛び抜けて召喚能力に長けているのがアトモスと呼ばれる種である。
Dude, that is fucking awesome. Look at this and tell me that this is still a fantasy game. You've got like you've got a waveform down there. You've got a fucking depiction of a wormhole. Yes, but the text on the left is going to be written in the Eorzean alphabet, and it's going to be the English translation of the actual thing being said. Unfortunately. That's one of the things that the Japanese team has the English team do, and they assume that they're doing it in good faith, and then they aren't. It's very unfortunate. It's, okay, among aberrants, there are some who are capable of summoning allies from the, otherworldly void. I mean, you would probably just say from the void. Now, among them, there's a particular species known as Atmos, that is, like, overwhelmingly skilled? Or it's like, particularly stands out in terms of its summoning capabilities.
アトモスの巨大な口からは用意が次々と転送されてくるため、 鎮圧に当たった聖戦師団は大いに苦しめられた。
Okay. As aberrants poured one after another from the Atmos's great mouth, the Celestials who endeavored to subjugate them, suffered great losses.
我々はアトモスが簡易的なボイドゲートの役割を有していると判断。小型のアトモスを捉え、その能力の解明に挑んだ。
Huh. That kind? Okay, I'm assuming that that means, like, simplified or quasi. It's like, okay, we've determined then that the Atmos has the, like, role of serving or it's like possesses the function of a quasi or simplified void gate. We captured a small Atmos and attempted to uncover its capabilities. Maybe you would say decipher its capabilities.
アトモスは世界の境界に生じた亀裂、いわゆるボイドクラックを体内に取り込むことで、ゲートへと拡大させている事実を突き止めた。
Huh? Huh? Okay. In our findings, we discovered that, like, Atmos expand the gates by, like, absorbing the void cracks, like, these fissures that form... like, at the boundary between worlds into their own bodies, and then expand them into gates. Or it's like, expand them into full-scale gates. That seems weird. So it, like, absorbs it, sucks in a void crack and then expands it into a gate.
クリスタルに蓄積されたエーテルをこれに類似する波長に変換するプリズムの生成に成功した。
So, notice that they said that this happened like thousands of years ago or something like that, and they know what a wavelength is already, and have the methodology to, like, record them. Actually, I can't remember how long ago they said it was, but it was a fucking while ago. Especially considering that they were going up against the, the Oligans with their fucking tech. Yeah, at that time we analyzed the etheric wavelength emitted by the Atmos, and were successful in creating a prism that capable of converting the, like, ether accumulated within said crystal into a similar wavelength.
そしてこの特殊なプリズムを組み込んだ人造アトモスとでも呼ぶべき魔法人形を完成させたのである。
And then we were successful in completing a magical doll that one could call an artificial Atmos. Incorporating this prism within its body.
盲点だったわね。用意を招き寄せるアトモス種は古くから知られる存在よ。
Damn, what do you say for this in English? You would probably just say, like, that, it entirely slipped my mind. The Atmos species, known to summon aberrants has, been known since ancient times.
第7零祭の直前にも エオルゼアの各地域でアトモスの出現が目撃されている。あなたも噂ぐらいは聞いたことがあるのではなくて。
Just before the 7th, I'm just gonna say spiritual calamity. There were witness reports of Atmos in various regions throughout Eorzea. I'm sure you at least, heard the rumors.
それにしても人工的に用意を作ろうだなんて、シャーレアンの賢人に禁書認定されるわけだわ。
Yeah? Yeah, that makes sense, but... Yeah, like, artificially creating... It's like, yeah, creating artificial ad prints. Yeah, I can see why the Sages of Farland would want this banned. Or, like, would want this forbidden, rather, you would say. It is forbidden rather than banned.
お目当ての一冊を手に入れることはできたわね。
Yeah, in any case, we were able to get the book we were looking for. You say, like, I'm glad we were able to get the book we were looking for.
せっかくの機会ですもの。ここにあるすべての本に目を通しておきたいところだけれど。
Given the opportunity, I really would like to, stay here and, like, scan over. Or, like, skim is more like, skim every single book here if I could.
私たちを信頼して閲覧許可を出してくれた哲学者議会を裏切るわけにはいかないわね。今日のところは諦めましょう。
But, we can't exactly betray the Philosopher's Parliament's trust. Considering they were willing to give us permission to, view the books here. Let's leave it at this for now.
「お端子の本が見つかってないよりです。
Fantastic. I love this little guy. This really is just, I'm glad that it seems you found the book you were looking for. Just talks like a robot. Wait, she's just going right in. She's just going right in. This is like, yeah, you don't want to start making an artificial Atmos immediately, but... And like, alchemy is a bit outside of my area of expertise, so, we really will just have to ask an expert.
秘術なのだから、その名を冠するデミールのイリツ教の錬金術師に相談するべきね。ニッターナなら喜んで話を聞いてくれるんじゃないかしら。
Okay, so if, considering this is a method devised by the Demeter family, we really should go to the, Demeter Triumph, to find an alchemist to consult with the alchemist there. I'm sure Nadana would be willing to help.
協力ありがとう。哲学者議会にもよろしく伝えておいて。
Thank you for your help, and please, give our thanks to the Philosopher's Parliament as well.
承知しました。お目当たりでの本があればまたお越しを。禁書以外であればいつでもお求めしいたします。
This is such a pain in the ass. Okay. Let me just... I'm literally going to manually put this back into Hyadain 1 second. Or I can just do it mentally, whatever. It's... Okay, this is just understood. If you have any other... like, books in mind, please let me know. Yeah, other than forbidden books, I can help assist you in finding anything you may need.
それじゃ、サベネア島に向かいましょう。
And now, yeah, let's go back to Sabine Island. Why in the hell would you do a mixed uppercase, lowercase for that? Genuinely, that's one of the dumbest solutions I could possibly imagine for what is just supposed to sound artificial. It's just... like, imagine that you were just reading a book, right? And you had, like, an artificial little construct guy doing that. And you put it into up and down, uppercase, lowercase. What the hell would people's, like, internal monologue for that thing be? You would just read like shit. You would just call it dumb.
相変わらず、ここの錬金術師たちは、徹夜続きの青ざめた顔でも、目だけは生き生きとしているわね。
Okay, apparently they're still not getting any sleep.
ヤシュトラさんから聞いたよ。何でも楽しそうな研究に混ぜてもらえるんだって。
Okay, this is fun, yes. Oh, I just heard for your solar. Like, you've got you got something really fun you guys are working on. You want me to be a part of it.
きっと、あなたたちには楽しんでもらえると思うわ。まずは、この書物を見てちょうだい。
I'm sure you'll find it really interesting. First, take a look at this book.
どれどれ。
Ooh, what's this?
え？この署名はデミール家の。でもこんな書物存在すら聞いたことがないよ。
Wait a second. The signature. It's from the Demir family, but I've never heard of this book before.
でしょうね。ヌーメノン大書院の禁書庫から
didn't
持ち
think
出
you
して
would.
きたんですもの。
Yeah, it's from the forbidden section of the Great Library of Numenon.
それじゃこれ禁書ってこと？
Wait, so this is a forbidden book?
そう。
Forbidden
そんな
book.
禁書は読むことを禁じられているから禁書なんだよ。そんなもの渡されたら。
Okay, so they're repeating the thing. This is the exact same thing that Fortuno said. I mean, like, you're supposed to be forbidden from reading them. That's why they call them, like, forbidden books, right? I mean, like, if you're gonna give me something like that, then...
読むに決まってるじゃない。
Very fun. Very fun. It's like, wait, like a forbidden book is, you're forbidden from reading it. That's why it's a forbidden book. You give me something like that, of course I'm gonna read it. No other choice. Excellent bit. She was like, no, these books are banned for a reason. You're not supposed to be, you're supposed to be banned from reading them. Of course I'm going to read it. Obviously. Ha ha ha.
デミール家が過去にこんな秘術を編み出していたなんて、まだまだ私たちの知らないことは多いな。
Yeah, to think that the Demir family had developed something like this so far in the past, and there's still just so much that we don't know.
もう察していると思うのだけれど、その書物に記されている人造アトモスの製作に力を貸してもらえないかしら?
I think you might already have an idea of what I'm going to ask, but would you be willing to help us make an artificial Atmos as described in that book?
もちろん喜んで、むしろこっちからお願いしたいぐらい。
Yeah, of course, I would love to. I mean, honestly, like, I should be asking you to help. Like, I should be asking you if I can help.
あの巧妙なシャーレアンの賢人たちを震え上がらせて、禁書に指定させてしまった知識だなんて、紐解かずにはいられないよ。
Amazing. It's like what, this... Yeah, it's like, information that, frightened the renowned scholars of Charlayan so much so that they had to forbid it, its reading. I like, what, it's like, I just couldn't possibly resist. You say just, I just can't possibly resist.
私にもよくわかるわ。
I know exactly what you mean.
ところで、人造アトモスなんて作って、どうするの？
Yeah, so, by the way, how exactly are we going to make this, Oh wait, no, it's what are you going to... Yeah, this is what are you gonna do with it, once we make it.
北上海に沈んだ海底一隻に封印されたボイドゲート。本当、私の知らないことってまだまだあるんだ。
There's a void gate sealed and the, like, underwater ruins and the fertile sea. There really is a whole lot that I don't know.
ともあれ、人造アトモスにゲートを拡張させるなら、まずは、その実物を見ておく必要がありそうだね。危険なものだろうから、失敗は許されないし。
Okay. Yeah, but, in any case, if we're, going to... Like, if we're going to use this artificial outpost to expand the gate, I really do need to see the real thing first. This is going to be dangerous, so... failure really isn't an option.
それなら、私たちと一緒に行きましょう。ちょうど、ボイド探索に向けて、もう一つの準備をするところだったから。
Okay, then you should come along with us. We were going to make... What, like make our preparations for... another expedition into the void. Oh?
これから行う準備には、星極星を帯びた水とアクアマリンの原石、それに高純度の水属性クリスタルを用意する必要があるの。
Okay, so the reason why that sounded weird is that you were saying, like, we need to do something else that our character was completely unaware of. Okay. Okay, so, to prepare for what we're about to do, we need, like, astral polarity, water... What, like, raw aquamarine and incredibly high purity water crystals, water attributed crystals.
原石とクリスタルについてはオールドシャーレアンで仕入れておいたから残る星極星を帯びた水を入手してきてもらえないかしら。
Okay, as far as the ore and the... Or like the stones and crystals, could you get... Okay, so we need the water. Astral polarity water.
あそこの水は魔力を活性化する作用があると言われていて、古くは魔術師たちが修行に使っていた場
Like you
所
should
な
go
ん
to
だ。
the Phantom Illusory Spring. Yeah, Maya's Illusory Spring. Yeah, the water there is said to have like the effect of activating magical energy. It's a place where mages used to go to train.
あなたが水汲みに行っている間に私はブリトラを呼んでくるわ。これから行うことはゲートの封印装置を操作する必要があるのよ。
Okay, I'll go, go, like, talk to Vitro while you go get the water. Okay, what we're going to do next requires, like, opening or operating the, sealing mechanism on the gate.
じゃあ、頼むわね。終わり次第、また、ここで会いましょう。
Okay, we'll meet here once everything's, once you're finished. Though I'm a bit confused by the description there. Actually, I should probably just go to Pakala. Because if it was astral polarity, wouldn't that be deactivating stuff? Rather, like, hold on, let me check the line again to make sure I was reading it right. Well, no, yeah, they say stimulate, but that's probably wrong then. I don't know. I would imagine that if it was, like, astral polarity water, that it would do the opposite. It should stimulate, but, I mean, they were describing the astral polarity as the source of stagnation. You know, inactivity. No, De Kyokuse was dark. De is the one that was translated to umbral. No, that whole confusion thing was a result of them calling De Kyokuse, the spiritual polarity, as umbral, leading to a difference between. Actually, no, wait. Yeah, you're. Hold on, am I getting... No, umbral is light. Or is actually light, whereas... Hold on. Now this is the problem, because when the fucking English terms make everything more confusing than it needs to be. These are the whole distinction between umbral not actually being dark. Okay, give me a second. I just need to look up the Seikyokuse. Yeah, on the chart it's the above. So it should be the... Yeah, no, it's the... Umbral is actually light, but was thought to be dark prior to Shadowbringers. I'm trying to remember all of this. This is all... this is one of those ones where I would need to go back and see the... I would need to go back and read the bit from Shadowbringers where they explained it. Because the obnoxious English definition of it confuses the actual meanings of which one is used with which. Even playing it in Japanese, the stupid-ass umbral name fucks stuff up. Okay, yeah, I found the line. It was... Yeah, astral governs activity and development when many colors overlap becomes black, called darkness. Yes, so De Kyokuse is light, and that's like the reveal. Yes. So it is just Umbral fucking it up again. It always mixes it up for me. God, it's such a dumb TL for it.
星極星を帯びた水は手に入ったかしら。ああ、これだけあれば十分よ。助かったわ。
Yes,
私の
there
持
we
って
go.
きた材料と合わせてボイドゲート。
Yeah, let's take the Void Gate. Sure. That's one of those things where, like, it gets doubled up because I can't remember which one Umbral was supposed to be because it's dark but then it's actually light, and then it's like which one did that map to in the English. Fuck. Oh, that's not a good name. I don't like the name for that. This is called Your Stola's Experiment. And you've got that. I don't think we should be doing, like, an experiment on a Void Gate there.
ブリトラを呼びに行ったついでに、手持ち無沙汰に歩いてたエスティニアンも連れてきたの。彼の力が必要になるかもしれないから、ね。
Okay, found a city as well, been, wandering about. Might need his help.
さあ、準備も完了したことだし、ボイドゲートがある海底遺跡へ向かいましょう。
It's like, okay, we've made every possible preparation. Let's head underwater to where the Void Gate is. Alright, guess we're gonna have to, find another ship.
その必要はない。いや、シュトラから話を聞いた時点で、船を手配しておいた。すでにアキャーリで待機してい
Okay,
るはずだ。
no need for that. As soon as I heard from Ursola, I had a ship
至れり
prepared.
と
It should be
特性で
already be there
頭
at
が下がるわね。
Akiari.
なら、行きましょ
Okay. It's just, oh, how incredibly, like, how incredibly gracious of you. Let's go. This is a top-tier quest. I'm assuming that things are not going to go particularly well, and the whole quest being named Your Stola's Experiment, we're going to get into some mad scientist territory, right? Your Stola is going to go mad with power. Fuck, no, now I remember. Now I remember what the confusion was. It is just getting the two things mixed up, where in Japanese they described it being, like, they didn't know which thing, like, which polarity would be associated with quote-unquote good or quote-unquote evil, and that the First World's understanding of the polarities and, like, how they are relative to, good and evil was different from their own. But then English throws in that whole umbral line when there was never any color reference in the Japanese, which then makes it all sound, backwards and fucked up.
またお目にかかれて光栄です。すでに船の準備。すまないが、頼
Ship's
む。
ready. Thank you.
一体、どんな場所なのかな、楽しみ。
Oh, I wonder what it'll be like. I'm so excited.
それでは、海底遺跡へ船を出します。私は、
Yeah, I need to find that line again, because it is really, really funny. It's almost as funny as we always thought that the echo was a gift from Hyadain line. But them just having to go like, the thing we called umbral is actually light? Whoopsies.
壊すなという間もなく、エスティニアンが放った槍が、次々と守護者の神格を貫いていったんだ。もっとしっかり注意をしておくべきだった。
Okay, that's... very fun. It's And before I could tell him not to destroy them, this Indian, like, started piercing the hearts of the Guardians, one after another. You know, I really should have said something ahead of
お
time.
気の毒ね、大主様。エスティニアンには、後で働いて弁償してもらうとして。
Okay, this Indian is going to have like, compensate him out of pocket for the things, for the
前回
Guardians
来
he
た
broke.
時に守護者の匠は全て壊したつもりだったが、まだ少し残っていたから排除しておいたぞ。
Yeah, last time we were here, I thought I'd, you know, destroyed all of the Guardians. There's still some left, so I, you know, took them out.
この遺跡自体もすごかったけど、こんな装置が昔から北上界の底にあったなんて。
And the ruins themselves are amazing, or spectacular, but I never would have imagined that something like this could have been at the, you know, the bottom of the fertile sea for so long.
もっと早く知りたかったですよ、ブリトラ様。
The way she talks is so ridiculous for a character with that face. She's got this, like, super, you know, cutesy, bubbly sort of voice, and then she's just an elephant. It would have been nice to know about it a little bit sooner, you know, Lord Vritra.
ああ、すまない。ゲートの存在は大種に近しいもの以外には秘匿していたのだ。誰が悪用するか分かったものではないからな。
Oh, I'm sorry. The very existence of the gate was kept secret from, you know, everybody except for those very close to the, you know, Governor General. We had no idea who might, you know, misuse it after all. So what are you trying to do here?
確かめておきたいことがあるのよ。
And there's something I want to confirm. It's more like there's something I want to make sure of.
クリスタルタワー調査団ノアの報告によれば、第13世界でも短時間であれば容易化することなく活動できるらしいの。
Okay, according to the, you know, report from the Crystal Tower investigation team, NOAA, or like investigation inquiry, like actually you would say the Crystal Tower research team, NOAA. Seems as though they were like able to, or like one can operate in the 13th world without becoming a, you know, an aberrant for a short period of time.
傷を負って体内エーテルが不安定になったり、長時間滞在したりした場合などは容易化する危険性が高い。
However, if one sustains, like, yeah, is injured, causing internal etheric instability, or remains there for an extended period of time, the risk of transforming into an aberrant is extremely high.
グラハティアは五根の霊輪があれば容易化を防ぐことができるかもと言っていたけれど、実際に第13世界へ渡る前に確認をしておく必要があるわ。
Grahatia said that with the soulward skills, one might be able to prevent this process from occurring. However, before we actually travel to the 13th itself, I need to verify this.
確認ね。早い話が実験だろ。
Verify, huh? So, you know, long story short, you're doing an experiment, right?
そうね。どうすれば五根の霊輪の効果を実証できるか、あなたなら分かって。
And that's right. Huh. Do you know how we could demonstrate the efficacy of these soulward scales? Okay, your options are either saying, like, you can either say, I'll go. Or, well, actually, no, it's like, you're going to, like, go, 自分が行こう. Okay, that's very fun. The middle option is, say nothing and look at Estinian. The third option is, send in a familiar and see how it, like, you know, see how it reacts. I'm gonna choose the middle option because it's funny. How are we going to test the scales? Estinian, you're going in.
なぜこっちを見ている？まさか俺にゲートをくぐらせよってんじゃないだろうな。
Hey, what are you looking at me for? You're not thinking of, like, you know, shoving me through that gate, are you? That's more like, you know, I trust you're not thinking of, you know, getting me to go through that damn gate.
別にゲートを通るのは人じゃなくてもいいのよ。今回は使いまで実験すること
Okay,
に
so it
しましょう。
should be the Jibun was, like, you know, yourself, obviously. I don't even know why I was caught up on that. Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be, you know, a person going through the gate. We can do the experiment using a familiar.
たとえ小さなクラックでも、インプのような定位の用意なら通過してきてしまう。
Yeah, even through a, you know, very small crack, something that's something about as, you know, strong as an imp should be able to pass through.
言い換えれば、その程度の使い魔ならば、こちら側からでも送り込むことができるということ。
In other words, you know, a familiar of that, you know, of that caliber could be sent there from this side as well. The translation here is really important. Well, they were talking about the directionality there, of saying, like, you know, an imp could come from the... Something like an imp could come from the void over here. So, likewise, a similarly powerful familiar could go from this side over there. Not here. Something coming up.
とはいえ本当なら、この使い魔だけは使いたくなかったのだけれど、手段を選んではいられないわね。
Oh, okay. That's interesting. You know, but, you know, really... I really didn't want to have to use this familiar. I don't know what you would necessarily say. It's like, 手段を選んではいられない. It's kind of like, I mean, it's kind of beggars can't be choosers, in a way. It's like, it's more along the lines of, like, I don't exactly have another choice. Yeah, like, yeah, for the witch Yashtola. You know, to say something like that. What sort of familiar is she going to summon? Or, like, what sort of familiar is she going to use?
海より登りて雲となり、山より落ちて雨となり、川より
Yeah,
下る。
rising from the sea, becoming cloud, falling from mountains, become rain. And, like, that's difficult.
あわわ
Oh no. We're all just going to stand here.
何か悪いもんでも食ったのか、あいつは。
Okay, so I'm assuming that awawa is like, you know, bubble. Or like foam. Amazing. Excellent bit. So that's why you were saying it was critically important. Okay, but in any case, this little bit, it is actually interesting. I'm assuming this not on is actually not the negative. It's like, this is like, you know, rising from sea, like to become cloud, falling from the mountains to like, you know, like falling from, like rising from the ocean is cloud, falling from the mountain is rain. Like flowing down the river as life. And then fucking turururu awawa. That's fucking hell. What would you do to make that equally, like, bullshit cutesy nonsense? That's almost saying, like, fucking splish splash. You would probably literally translate that to fucking splish splash. Unironically, splish splash. Which is awful. Just awful. And then Asinian's line is like, does she eat something bad? Basically just say, like, she got food poison or something, like, something wrong with her. Oh, wow, so cute. Yay. Honestly, yeah, that should just be... Oh, fucking, there's two of them. There's two of them. Yeah, so it should be Splish Splash. Oh, come on, that's awful. Yeah, let's play, let's play. Yay. It should be like, yeah, she is not happy with this. And to ensure that they could pass safely through the gate, I had to, you know, summon a familiar with the least amount of ether possible. You know, that's fine, that's...
なんで術式の最後にあんな栄唱の言葉を織り交ぜたのか。子供の頃の自分に会うことがあったら問い詰めたいわね。
問い詰めたい。But, yeah, but, you know, if I could, like, you know, like, talk to myself as a child. I guess you could just say, like, if I could, you know, meet my childhood self again. I'd really want to ask myself, why on earth? Like, I would put like, you know, put that as the end for the chant. In any case, we'll be, you know, sending these two to the 13th through the Void Gate. Huh. Okay, apparently they're called Nokken. Well, yeah, one of the Nokken will have a soulward scale.
第13世界から呼び戻した後の2体の状態を観察することで霊輪の効果を検証するというわけ。
Okay, by observing the, state of the two of their bodies after they've been brought back from the 13th, we'll be able to verify the efficacy of the soul word scales.
ブリトラはボイドゲートの制御をお願い。
Vritra, please, if you could, the void gate.
わかった。
Yeah.
ゲートを開いている間は向こう側から用意が侵入してくる可能性がある。エスティニアンはニダーナの護衛を。
Yeah, while the gate is open, there's a possibility that aberrants could come through from the other side. Isinian, yeah, you're to guard Nidana. Yeah.
万が一のためにあなたも備えておいて。
And just in case, you should be ready too. Oh, you can really just lay in here. I mean, how could you not hit her back with the like splish splash? Awawa.
あら、ノッケンの代わりにあなたを無理やりゲートに突っ込んでもよくってよ。
Amazing. Amazing. Oh, so you're saying you don't mind if if I, like, shove you through the gate instead of one of the knockin'?
さあ、始めるわよ。
Okay, I'm starting.
Nokken, 行って。
Nokken, go. They just start everything with that little fucking tururu. Awawa. That's fucking awful. Fantastic. Hold on.
結果が出るまで少し時間がかかるわ。
Okay, she's just completely ignoring
魔
it.
女殿にもガキだった頃があったんだな。いや、当たり前なんだが。
Yeah, see, the witch thing, come on! Right? Like, the whole point of this is the witch thing. They keep downplaying it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I guess the witch herself was was just a kid once too. I mean, it's obvious, but...
ここに来るたびに思い出すのだ。クリスタルタワーに開かれた
Yeah, yep,
さっきのヤシトラ
remembered
さ
it.
ん、可愛かったな。トゥルルル、あわわ
And, okay, Nidana is very well-intentioned with it, but is making things much worse. Oh, that was, just all, that was so adorable back there. The splish splash thing. You probably would have to go with... I don't know. I would have to talk to somebody else, but that's just... I think it probably is just Splish Splash. To me, at least. It's, something that a very small child would think sounds cute.
そろそろいい頃合いね。
It should be back. Or it's like, oh, what, is she going to, like, yeah, pull them back here? Okay, that should be enough. That should be long enough.
ノッケン、戻ってきてちょうだい。
Nokin, come back now. Probably only one of them is gonna... Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Wow. Oh, no.
ご苦労様。よく頑張ったわね。
Thank you so much. Yeah, you did a really good job. Oh, no.
かわいそうに用意になりかけているわ。
Oh, yeah, poor little guy. It's starting to turn into an aberrant. Or it's like it's on the verge. Oh, okay. Those things were just saying, like, I want to die, kill me.
用意が来るぞ。
Yeah,
す
the
ぐに
gate's
ボイドゲー
open.
トを再封印する。
Yeah, yeah, everyone's coming. I'm resealing the gate.
来たよ。
アルザダール三世の名において命じる。異界の扉よ。その口をつぐめ。
Okay, yeah, in the name of Alazar the Third, yeah, I command you. With, like, yeah, gate to, like, to that other world, to the other side, you might say. Nah, you probably say, like, otherworldly gate, shut your
今の
jaws.
でボイドゲートの危険性が嫌というほどよくわかったわ。
Wow. I really can tell just how dangerous those, these void gates are now.
So, 一目瞭然だとは思うが、実験の結果はどうだったんだ?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but, what are the results of the experiment?
五光の霊輪を組み込まなかった方の個体はエーテルが乱れてよどんでしまっているわね。ニッダーナの言葉通り用意になりかけているのよ。
Okay. The specimen, the one that did not have the, soul seal incorporated into it, has had its ether disrupted and is stagnating. Just as Nidana said, it's on the verge of becoming an aberrant.
一方、霊輪を混ぜて作った方の個体はエーテルも綺麗なままで安定しているわ。
Okay, on the other hand, the one with the Soulward skill is a clean ether and is stable.
ありがとう。ゆっくりお休み。
Okay, thank you. Rest well.
Gurahaの読みは正しかったということか。
And so, means Graha's guess was right. Well, actually, that's like prediction. Right? Yomi there is prediction.
けれど用意にならなかった方も無事なように見えて、霊輪には劣化の兆候が見られるわ。
Ooh, okay. The one who didn't have any disturbance in his ether appeared to be fine, but the Soulward Seal itself was beginning to show signs of, is like showing signs of
本来五光の
deterioration.
霊輪は精神汚染を誘発するエーテル放射から魂を守るために作られたもの。防ぐべきエーテルの波長が異なれば影響も違うということね。
Okay. These Soulward Seals were created to protect, to shield souls from etheric radiation inducing mental corruption if the wavelength of the ether that it is intended to shield against is different. The, like, efficacy will... Well, actually, no, it's like it'll have different effects. You know, in general, like it's somewhat effective, but it's starting to break down. Okay, it looks like some adjustments will need to be made so that in order for it to withstand the disturbed, the disarrayed environmental ether of the 13th world.
この状況で今更だが、第13世界ってのは一体どんな場所なんだ？わかるように説明してくれ。
Okay, Estinian's great. Yeah, look, I know it's a bit late to ask, but what sort of place is the 13th exactly? You know, and, like, explain it in a, like, a way that even I can understand. It's not really even I could understand, but it's, like, basically pretty much saying the same thing, like, keep it simple.
そうね。いい機会だから、第13世界についておさらいしておきましょう。
No. Yeah, well, this is a good opportunity to review what we know about the 13th world.
第13世界は闇の反乱によってボイドと呼ばれるようになった世界。
Okay, the 13th is a world that has become nothingness following the flood of darkness. It is now known as the Void.
エメトセルクによれば、強引に世界の再統合を試みた結果らしいけれど、結局は統合する価値もない世界になり下がってしまった。
Okay, according to Emmett Silk, it was the result of, forcibly attempting to rejoin the worlds, the world, but in the end, it's, like, denigrated. It's like, it degraded to the point of not even being worth, unifying or shit. Fusing, etc., whatever word you want to use.
その原因について、三頭身をめぐる戦いで出会った不滅なるもの、ウヌクアルハイはこう話していたわ。
Okay, regarding the, like, source of this, the cause of this, the, undying one, Unukuaruhai, we met in, like, it's the, the three warring gods.
第13世界では、聖石と呼ばれる石に万神の力を封じる魔法が発達していた。
Okay, in the 13th world, magic was developed to seal away idols, in stones known as, you would just say materials known as sacred stones, or like sacred crystals, holy crystals. I still don't have anything good for seiseki.
戦いの中で聖石の力に飲まれ、魔を食らう用意へと落ちてしまった。
Huh, wait a second, Mao Kurao? Wait a second, Mao Kurao. Fuck, I don't remember the context for this, but that's an interesting usage of Ma, because I'm assuming that's not just ether in general. That's like, the kanji for evil. Or like, demons, evil spirits, monsters. But I can't remember if that's actually what they mean. It's like, yeah, the heroes of that world who are consumed by the power of these holy crystals in the midst of battle fell, and became, like, it's like evil or like monster devouring aberrants.
しかし、それを止める力を持つ光はあまりにも弱く、 闇の反乱から世界を救うには至らなかった。
Okay, however, the light, which like had the power to stop this, was overwhelmingly weak and could not save the world from the flood of darkness.
そういえばウヌクアルハイを死の淵から引き上げたのはアシエン・エリディブスだったわね。
I don't remember this. I don't remember this. Oh no. It's, yeah, come to think of it, it was Assi and Elidibus who, like, what, pulled, Unukuaruhai? Like, from the brink of death? I think that's brink of death.
彼に利用されていたのはウヌクアルハイだけだったのかしら。
Yeah, no, I remember the kid. It's just the exact details of that side content storyline was something I did not remember. Yeah, it's like, but, yeah, was, Unukaruhai the only one used, like, utilized by, the mediator? Yeah, that one I remember. Yeah, the elf swordswoman. Yeah, you can either say, like, yeah, the waitress at the, like, wandering... It's basically like the wandering staircase, or, like, meandering staircase. Probably you would just say, like, spiral staircase. I'm just gonna say, yeah, Albert.
アルバートたち光の戦士と旅をしたエルフ族の剣士シルバー、その人もエリディブスに引き上げられた一人だというの？
Okay, yes. Yeah. Shirivia, elven swordswoman, traveled with Albert and Warriors of the Light. And she says she also was, like, picked up by, or... Yeah, I mean, you probably just say picked up by all of this. Saved, maybe.
そう。サイエラことシルバもウヌクアルハイのように英雄という言葉に翻弄されていたのね。
Ah, fuck. That's so very well written and incredibly obnoxious to translate. So Saeda, also known as Silva, was like Hondo. I guess you might say tormented, or like... It's like tormented by the concept of being a hero. You might say tricked. Kind of. Hondo is a bit of a pain in the ass. Actually, you would say, okay, we're manipulated by that very same word, hero.
あとはそうね。あなたは実際にノアの一員として第13
Okay, yeah, you've been to the 13th world as a member of Noah. Could you tell us anything about that? Yeah, I remember.
闇に覆われた太陽すら失われた世界。あるのはただエーテルを喰らう無数の用意だけ。まさにボイドの呼び名にふさわしいわね。
Okay, a world entirely shrouded in darkness, where even the sun has been lost. And all that remains is a countless ether-devouring aberrants. And truly lives up to the name, the Void.
その通り。だからこそ、私は君たちがあの世界に渡ることを進めようとは思わないのだ。
Precisely. That's why I do not believe you should go to, that world.
第13世界へ渡ることはあくまで一つの過程に過ぎないの。
Okay. So this line is like, crossing over to the 13th is just the first step. Nothing more.
この旅路は分かたれた世界のすべてへと通じていて、私はこの世のあらゆるものを解き明かすためにここにいる。ご心配は無用だわ。
Yeah, like what this journey will lead to, every, to all of the divided worlds, or like to all ends of our divided world. I'm like, the reason why I'm here is to uncover all of the secrets of our world. There's no need to fear, no need to worry.
そのための一歩として、どうにかして霊輪を調整してあげないとね。
Okay, and as and towards that goal, we need to somehow find a way to adjust the soul ward scales.
それなら私は人造アトモスの制作に入らせてもらうわ。
Okay, yeah, in that case, I'll get to work on starting up the process to make the artificial Atmos.
問題はイレツ教の資料だけじゃ情報が少なすぎること。メーガドゥータ宮にある大衆一族の記録庫にも入らせてもらえませんか？
I'm assuming you're talking about data. Okay, the problem is that, the data and the Triumph is far too little information. Could I be granted access to the records archive, to the archive of the Megaduda at Megaduda Palace?
ブリトラ様？
Vritra?
ああ、聞いているとも。帰り次第、管理たちに話しておこう。
Oh yeah, I'm listening. Or it's like yeah, I heard you. I'll talk to the officials as soon as we get back.
それじゃあ私たちは先に戻っているわね。
All right, then we're gonna, head back to the palace. Or back to the city, I guess you would probably just say. She's very chipper. Very upbeat. Probably should be taking this more seriously. Whoa. I don't care what the reward is whatsoever.
話に聞いてはいたが、改めてボイドの危険性がよく分かった。だが、ブリトラ...
Yeah! Kakugo. Yep. This should be like Vritra's determination, will. But that's probably a good spot to end it for now. These are good. This is the final quest of 6.1. I mean, these are gonna lead into, the next one. So unless this one is like super short, I'd probably want to leave it for next time. Because otherwise it's gonna end up like going super long. This seems to be the natural stopping point. Ooh, 6.2's first quest is a dungeon? Neat. Very fun. However, the first quest there gives people time to filter in. Very true. Yeah, in any case, that's gonna do it for me for right now. For some reason, YouTube is showing like 111 concurrent viewers, but with like basically no chat rates, so there's no way in hell those are real. That actually has me somewhat concerned of like some sort of weird automated viewbot sort of situation. I don't know what's going on. But in any case, that's the void staring back. Shit. Sorry, I left a few tabs open. And anyway, to all of the, like, void viewers, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Alright, peace out.